preface. It says, if there is a God, you want to thank him for the Gideons. Because they saved you many times when nobody else could do that. There's the Gideon Bible right there, obviously taken from a hotel room.
Yeah, a few of them. And you try being in downtown St. Paul at 3 o'clock on a Saturday night or Sunday night, and you need something that has that ring of that pure bell, ring of beautiful writing, that kind of thing that gets you cranked up. And what you do is you go to the end of the desk in any hotel room, and boy, the Gideons, I don't believe in God or anything else like that, but I believe in these boys. Because you can turn to the end of the Bible, the book of Revelation, and boy, that's one of the few things I've ever read. Have you ever read the book of Revelation?
Oh, yeah. Well, you talk about how Reagan likes to quote the book of Revelation and perhaps live by it. Is he paying more attention to that book than you would like?
Yeah, Reagan and I both pay attention to the book of Revelation. But the difference is, I am a writer, and I love it and admire it for the language and the music. Ronald Reagan believes it. But this generation, did it to a People magazine reporter in December of '85, that this generation may be the one that will face the end of the world. Now, when the president believes that, and we just heard that he'd taken most of his advice from a socialite astrologer on Nob Hill in San Francisco. That's a weird combination. He's getting this advice on one hand about his schedule, his calendar. Over here, he's getting the voice of one of the angels of death. If the president believes that his generation will be the one that faces the end of the world, what do you think he's going to do in a crisis? What would we do? If we knew that out there, if there were bonfires on the hills, and drums and the screeching of pagan hordes, and we knew they were going to come here. We wouldn't have we have one weapon here. We knew we were going to die because it had been said we were going to do. We believe that. What kind of decision would you make? Something that would benefit your children, or an environmental statement, or would you put this pistol to your head and set the house on fire? When the president believes that he's the last president, that this is it, no wonder he didn't care about George Bush. What the hell? He didn't believe Bush would be president. I think Reagan is disappointed, like I am, that Armageddon has not come soon enough. But I just need it for another reason. Reagan believes this generation, keep that in mind. You're it.
It's like for a fortress mentality.
Well, yeah, doomsday. Bunker,
When you first broke onto the national consciousness as a writer, there were political questions that seemed to mobilize everyone, whether young or old. You couldn't stand back on the sidelines. You wanted to get involved. Are we close to that point again? Has there been so much apathy that things have gotten out of control in your mind that people are going to have to stand up and take a position and beat the drums for activism?
I didn't get involved in politics for the sake of any activist ideal. I have a general distaste for activists. These are the same swine who keep me from smoking cigarettes on airplanes. Most of them are wrong, activists, but we need them. We need all of them just to keep the pot boiling. But that's a left-handed thing. What got me into politics and involved in politics was not an ambition to make an impression on my peers as an activist. Like a writer who must get published so that he teaches and in order to be noticed. Oh, I got the shit beat out of me in Chicago. The police beat me to death. Not to death. I had a press card. I had wingtip shoes on. I had a Madras Palm Beach coat. And I went up to the police line in Chicago in August of 1968. Yeah, Grant Park, corner of Michigan and Balboa. On the bridge, it's the first time it ever happened to me. I'd been in Rio. I was a foreign correspondent. I wore the white suit. I worked for the National Observer, the Dow Jones Company. And I had press passes. I was used to it. For everything. And people would always... I'd been in machine gun fights in Rio, and even the maniacs would let you go past. But I came up to a police line and, on the bridge over from Michigan Avenue on Balboa into Grand Park, and I showed my press credentials to the police, and one of the cops took a giant belly club and rammed it straight into my stomach, and it hit my backbone. And it almost went right there. I didn't shot my stomach, and it went right through me. And, yeah, what do you mean press? Hot dog, you come to me again, you know, that sort of thing. And they're beating people up around me, and I realized at the time that there was no appeal. You know, what do you mean press? We've heard about you. The order, civil order, broken down. For me. So I went back to the hotel, the Blackstone, on the corner there. And here's where it gets a little misty. For the reason it gets a little strange. And I took off my wingtips and put on these shoes, running shoes. And for reasons that we will not get into at this moment, I happen to have a motorcycle helmet and yellow goggles used against gas. I knew something was going to happen there. I didn't expect to have to go out and become an utter outlaw on the streets. That my press would be no good. That Mayor Daley hated me, not for who I was, but for what I was. And that the Democratic Party was about to, they already killed Bobby Kennedy. They already killed Martin Luther King. We had been robbed of our people, our flowers, that was what we were about. And to think that these bastards would then come after us with billy clubs and tear gas, these thugs, these punks, and beat us, made me angry. Well, maybe first I figured these shoes are no good. Talk to us, and neither are my press passes, and I better get a helmet. And why I brought the helmet, I'm not quite sure. I guess I'm not professional. I look at that. I happen to have a motorcycle helmet and a pair of yellow goggles and some running shoes. And I got into it. I came back here and I was still furious. I never wrote about it. I actually cried. It shut me up. I came back here and decided that this is politics, goddammit. We can do it too. Those are dumb people. They're just mean. Well, you have to work too hard to be mean. You know, if you have a talent, a natural instinct for it like that. I do. We can be mean. And I came back here and we got into politics and we were mean. Then we broke the system here. I was almost sheriff here. I didn't even vote before that. Yeah, I voted for Jack Kennedy, but
the most effective weapon you seem to have used is the pen. You point it out. You highlight the flaws of those you see in office to a degree that perhaps no one else did or even does today.
Is that something that
this is a book full of stories about George Bush that other people aren't writing, and some would say, well, there's a bit of fiction to the story, but somewhere in there you're trying to make a point.
A point? The point is that I'm a goddamn political writer, political journalist, and in the middle of a campaign, and this is suicide, this is mania. In the middle of a presidential campaign, a journalist, a political writer, publishes a book on the campaign in which he flogs the Vice President of the United States and the Attorney General and the Governor of Arizona. But you get left at three that my job will not be done until they're gone. For 2 years I've done that. They're evil people. They're wrong. They should be put out. And to publish a book on a campaign that's only halfway through, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's intelligence or it's kind of crazy. But you could do it. All I think is, you have a huge audience. You have TV. And since you have that and you're here, let me tell you, George Bush and that pig at Mace. Yeah, they're criminals. They're low life. They're wrong.
Now, when you say statements like that, the average person who sits and reads that column or watches this on television is saying, "Oh, that's just
he's drunk.
underconfident."
He had a Bible, he has his whiskey, and he has his guns. He must be nuts. Well, that's what I gamble on. I could be nuts, but I hadn't been all the time. Have I? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, that's the reaction. It's Hunter's flair for the absurd, and he's going to overstate every case.
I have not overstated George Bush. I have not overstated Ed Meese. You can't do that. These people are things that if they came up on the porch, we wouldn't want to drink with them if they had money. You know, if they were fat people that came into the driveway in Cadillacs and offered us money, we wouldn't drink with them. These are thugs. These are white trash. Well, yeah. Yeah, I do. I use words to achieve what I think should be done. And I don't think a crooked vice president should be elected president of the United States. I don't think a criminal attorney general should be charged of telling the prisons with people who wouldn't even drink with him, frankly, are better than he is. Not all of them. There are criminals, but are you happy that you look back and you think of Jack Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, George McGovern, Gene McCarthy? We had a list of good people who, if you got into politics, you were on their side. And you could be proud of it. And you could get beaten up. Who in the hell? Are you proud to have Ed Meese as your Attorney General? This is the generation, the president's saying that your generation is going to meet Armageddon, the end of the world. The Attorney General is taking bribes from every goddamn passerby. His wife is out there hustling money out of illegal loans. He's dealing with the Israelis. He's dealing with West Tech. He's selling pipelines into Iran. And what was saying? And he entered an elevator in Washington the other night with a fife and drum corps behind him. He's following around Washington with a fife and drum corps. This is a thug who was an assistant DA in Oakland, in Alameda County, in 1964. And he lost that war. Ed Meese was an assistant at the time of the Berkeley free speech uprising. And he tried to lock those people up, and he locked a lot of them up. But he lost. He was humiliated, crushed. I'm just telling you, he was resurrected by Reagan and brought to the White House. And now he's in charge of the goddamn court system. All those judges and lawyers in the jail. I would be proud of that. Okay. That's because it's a generation of swine.
I think we better replace that land.
It's all right. It's always happened. I get excited. Go ahead.
When people read your columns, if they just say, "Well, I like that, I agree with that," but it doesn't evoke a reaction, is that not a satisfactory column? Would you rather have them say, "I disagree," and get intensely angry over it, or agree and get intensely upset over what you've written, than just to mildly say, "Well, that's nice, well written"?
Well, I don't think they say that very often. We want to keep in mind that I am writing for what you call a family. God damn it! What the fuck? Shit happens. Let's try that. No. I need agreements. This is my spare pair. I had 4 pairs of agreements when I came back here, and they were all taken away. So now this is when I hid in the bedroom. They're all over the place. They're in a Jeep.
This may look a little strange for editing.
Yeah.
How does it look? What's it look like on it?
Go and tie it so you can
Yeah.
see
Oh, shit. No, hey! Well, here, let me do this.
it. Stop just a second.
Why? I'm the most responsible fucker in the room, see? Never mind, that's the craziest person in the room. Who else is checking to see where we're on tonight? Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, we're right on.
Oh, we're on now.
Let me fondle my weapon while we answer this.
There are always weapons around. Whatever Hunter Thompson is. Why is that?
God, it worries me too. I don't know. But no, I enjoy that is a fine piece of machinery, isn't it? Feel it. The way it rolls.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's a tool, it's a toy. What do you have that's made that well? Anything?
There's more to it than having just a fine piece of machinery. You also like
Give me a 44 Magnum round in there.
You also like to shoot them.
Well, that's too bad, yeah. You might too.
Guns even appear frequently in your columns and in your books.
I don't know. I guess I'm a victim of some kind of horrible mental illness. I don't know. We have to live with what we have, you know. A friend of mine who ate some acid once in San Francisco and went crazy. We were at some kind of a peace rally in Keysmore Stadium. A bag of popcorn was passed down the aisle. I tend to eat most of anything that comes along. It doesn't worry me too much. There's not too much they can get to me. But this guy was a lawyer, and his wife was a socialite artist. They ate the popcorn. And I didn't think anything of it, you know. People, you know, it was the summer of love, you know, flowers. People fancy popcorn, of course you eat. Oh, Jesus Christ. He went completely berserk. Had me taken away in a straight jacket. His wife divorced him, he was just worried. And we went to a doctor, and he found out of his kidney. I didn't know. The doctor told him, clearly this has been a disaster, and he had problems. And my friend, at that point, sensed trouble for himself, and said, "What do you know?" And the doctor said to him, "Well, we'll just have to work with what's left." And that's what he's been doing. With what's left. In a sense, I ate the popcorn. For all I know, I've been crazy all this time. I may be utterly insane. Maybe just with that big that I have guns, and people don't take me away. I don't know. I get paid for being crazy in some ways.
Yes, you do.
You know? I mean, that's a coarse way to look at things.
So I wonder how much you would be testing if you didn't get paid for it.
How much? How
much would you be pushing?
All this is just a commercial scam.
Are you Michael Jackson here, who's building an image?
No, like last week when the guy threatened to blow up the house, I spent about 3 days on it. You know, the sheriff, let's pick him up, find him, get him, run him to the National Security Archives, finding out that he was a dynamite freak. And I realized all of a sudden on Friday or Saturday was a deadline. And I had spent my time on this other thing. And I was cursing and bitching, like, I can't do all these things. Somebody must, you know, this thing I've been doing. I must have help in this. The life is too complicated. It was. But then it came to me in a moment of peace, which they come along now. It came to me in a moment that the ancient wisdom of the clan, you know, by hillbilly people. What are you doing, bitching about this? No, wait a minute. Why have you made this? You know, have you gotten by all this time? If you have a problem here, let's make money on it. Let's not let it get in your way. What is the problem? Let's sell it. And so I wrote about it instead of going crazy and telling the perimeters of the property with shotguns and lights. I was worried about it, and it bothered me, and it was real. But instead of abandoning the deadline and quitting and going mad, I went back to my ethic, which is, if this is happening, what the hell? You know, it's dumb to not use the energy. To put energy into something. Well, I'm just trying to get by. Really. Look around here. This is not the digs. The usually commercially oriented shyster.
You're not in a penthouse on Fifth Avenue in the Trump Tower.
No, hardly. We just want to get by, and I get angry when I don't, but I'm not allowed to get by. You know, I think the secret there might be a little curl in that, and it might be that I get angry when I'm not allowed to get by like I want to. You know, this is perhaps where the worm goes off the rails to make some horrible point. But yeah, I mean, I want to live. I think I should live like I want to, and I think you should. And if you're living like you want to, it involves coming and blowing my house up. I believe that I should have you picked up and put in a straight jacket and take it to the state loony bin and put them. And if you don't want to do that, I think you should be brought out here and tied to a tree and shot. If you really need to get in the house. But, hey, God damn it. Shut up! They heard a moral flaw.
They don't like the idea of shooting people.
Yeah, no more violence. But, no, I really believe that we all deserve to live decently instead of slaves to Ed Meese and George Bush.
I'm going to make a quick point change.
Do you have any run back to that? Can't take it.
I'd like to be responsible here.
Yeah, that's just a bunch here.
Now, not many people have a pistol with a scope on it.
I know.
We're into serious weapons.
Hey, all weapons are serious. Weapons, no, not all, but things like this are serious. All right, but you want to... That would be what... You couldn't tell what that was. That's either a piece of art in the old Frederick Remington early American style, or it's a monstrosity that could, if you didn't handle it right, blow a hole in the lid of your car or the roof. Right, just pull it back.
Yeah, well,
See what it
we're
looks like.
sitting on your front porch. Where would I shoot it?
Right up over there.
Who's over there?
Nobody. That's true. What went through here?
I'm to shoot this?
Yeah, you have to pull it back and cock it with a hammer. Be careful, that's a hair trigger. So pull all the way back, stab it back.
That's right.
Okay.
So you sit here now on the front porch to shoot that off.
You shot it. I took you.
You talked me into it.
Yeah. Tom Sawyer. Yeah, it is.
No, I like the peacock strike.
It's fun. I mean, it's no, if you put out and shot people. This is a registered rod and gun club, the NRA here. This is the alpha. I'm seen as a responsible handler of weapons. And I am. The record shows that.
You appeared regularly in Rolling Stone magazine 20 years ago. Disappeared from writing.
Oh, come on.
Disappeared from writing regularly. And more recently, you were in Rolling Stone in the 70s. But there was no place to see your writing regularly. Why did you decide to start a column again? Go to work again? Writing a column is like having a
Don't do
job.
that story though. That's unfair.
Yeah. How could they talk you into it? How could they talk you into doing regular work when your lifelong ambition has been to do is infrequent work, but to get paid well for it?
All right, I'll tell you. Yeah, this is unfair. You're the only one. I'll get you for this. But you know the story that the examiner embarrassed me when I was arrested for drug driving. You know, everything. Like, you know, it's always embarrassing to do anything wrong. Like if you hit something over here, or if I shot and hit something, I'd be embarrassed. If I drive fast, and if I get arrested for anything, that's once, one time. Yeah, if you don't do it right, you shouldn't do it. Drugs are no excuse. Food is no excuse. Yeah, if you run around like I do and handle this kind of thing, well, look at this. And you've seen how we work. Responsibility mounts up. Helplessly. So, in a moment, when the Mitchell brothers, in fact, threw beer bottles out of my goddamn Jeep and got me busted for drunk driving, the examiner sent a reporter down there and a photographer to embarrass me in the courtroom, or the courthouse, which they did. And I was embarrassed, and it hadn't happened since, or before. But I thought, you bastards, I'm going to screw the reporter's head off. And Whitmore and Hickle, my ancient friend and editor, who was part of it. No, I didn't make threats, but I was angry. And the result of all this wild confusion, I was over there, I am the night manager of the Imperial Theater, the infamous Carnegie Hall, public sex in America. Yeah, I'm writing a book about that. But I was embarrassed by it. I was annoyed And Hinkle, being the gentleman he is, the Catholic gentleman, what do we call her? Henry Clay, the eternal great compromiser. I'm descendant from Henry Clay. And I recognized what Hinkle was doing. He said, well, why don't we write a column for us? Willie's starting a new, back to the great ideas of journalism. I thought, good. Yeah, we'll start a column. He's in a limo after the hotel. And I'll come down there and we'll do it. I'll write a column, sure. And it was vengeance. It was, like on the newspaper. That's all right, column. And you go run that photograph that I took in the courthouse. That will be on the column every. That's probably my reason. I wanted that picture to appear. 155 straight weeks. But I never intended to write a column. But let's be fair. In the last campaign in '84, which was really. I watched the tape of the California. We got confused the other night. We watched the tape of the California primary in '84 instead of this one. Hey, it was a different world, actually, than commitment and. Gary Hart was a real challenger. Yeah. It's very spooky to put on an '84 tape of the California primary and compare it to what was going on. They covered a power pulling contest in Louisville, Kentucky at Freedom Hall rather than the California primary. Where was I?
Covering the '84 campaign.
Yeah, we're.
But
politics is not as interesting to cover, even if it's it doesn't have to be going my way. I don't have to win. Matter of fact, I won in '76, Jimmy Carter, and he embarrassed me. He was incompetent. I lost in '72. I've been in this thing for a long time. Maybe you're right. I may be as old as the hill. I can remember winning in 1960, and that would get you into politics forever, anything like that. To meet Richard Nixon, and as young as that was my first, I'm just very old enough to vote. And what worries me about this campaign now, this election, is that the whole generation, having gone through 8 years of Reagan now, 4 Carter, and then very confused 8 of Nixon and Ford, that's a generation in politics who would never known, never felt, never known what it was like to really feel that being in politics was right. That there are good people, never knew what really came of it, and who never had any sense of what it was like to really go out and quit your job and work for Bobby Kennedy, and know that it was right. And that's a long time in American politics. A generation that has no sense that it's right to do that. It can't be fun, It's fun to move, we're in the business of controlling our environment. And to always be pushed around by people like Ed Meese and George Bush and Rita LaBelle, better in prison. Who's that maniac to run the Interior Department?
James Watt.
Yeah, what? I mean, these are people who were put in charge of our lives. Your life, my life.
You got a laundry list of people that you don't like in politics. Is there anyone out there that inspires you today or gives you hope?
Wait a minute, that's a Barbara Walters kind of question. I just read you a litany of good people.
From the past that aren't around.
Right. Well,
the last person you mentioned that inspired you was Jimmy Carter. You said.
How was it about me? I'm talking about you. What are you doing? Did you vote last time? Come on.
Do I have to answer?
Are you registered? Yeah, you do.
Of course I vote.
Who do you vote for?
Well, that's one day. Close that and make it a secret ballot.
God damn. Well, see, if you're ashamed of it, then you shouldn't be talking to me about my problems. That's the whole point. I don't like to be ashamed of my politics. And I just have, let me tell you something. It's kind of fun to not be ashamed of your politics. It's fun to be right and to feel it right. And I believe that's a theme of assignment. And that's what I'm getting at. God damn, I really, I must be, I've gotten into this Buddhist thinking about reincarnation. I must be into my 4th run around. Or else I'm a vampire, actually. Yeah. And, there is something to that vampire thing. Well, I'll let you figure it out. But let me tell you this a small secret that you can carry with you like an empty egg forever. That if you don't know what it's like to really be right in politics and to do the right thing and really get into it, it's an extreme high. It's way much way higher than a drug. Guns. It's nice to not feel beaten by now people you know in your heart and your head, and if you talk to your good smart friends who would also tell you, people who shouldn't be running your life. People who shouldn't be running your life or your children's life. Ed Meese is one of those. He's the Attorney General. I don't think I have to apologize for not liking the goddamn thugs and old red pigs that are running the country right now. I have not, I didn't vote for him. He ain't my Attorney General. That's why you call it a generation of swine, to get back to that. Now, if you want to argue about that, I could be wrong. I always, that's always a risk. But I don't think you have any,
My curiosity is, we've got an election coming up. Is there anybody that's going to inspire you to get out and work for them this time? We know who the nominees are going to be. Michael Dukakis is going to be the Democratic nominee. You're going to take on his cause as you did for Jimmy
You missed the
Carter?
point. You missed the point. In politics, I work for myself. And you should too. It's what we should all do. It's the ethic of enlightened self-interest. It is our business to make the country livable for ourselves. I don't give a damn about Michael Dukakis or even George Bush. If they were here, we would eat grapes with them. Shoot 40 Bermuda. I don't know. But and I'm into politics for myself. My own. I like to be happy with what I do in my life with it. And politics is a great part of it. This is a democracy. And if we don't, the vote is the most powerful thing we have in a democracy. And if we don't use it, that's what it was written down. There's a reason I sit on my porch with guns. I built this fucking porch. I like it here. I intend to stay here. And this is the way I like to live. And we elect people here who, I do anyway, who agree with me. So I could be a monster. I don't know. That's up to you, really. I'm into politics for my own interest, and you should be too. And if you don't get into it for that reason, Michael Dukakis happens to be, I think, I don't really know him. I don't go see him soon. I'll tell him about that today, but yeah, it occurred to me that I should go and see, if I have anything to do with it, he will be the next president. Yeah, I intend to work. Not because I fall in love with Michael Dukakis, his wife perhaps, but George Bush should not be president. We cannot afford another lost generation in politics. I want people to know. I want to have that sense of in a democracy. We lose totally if we don't get into it. This is a game. You need to play or you don't. And it's easy enough. We worked out around here. We to live with each other, you know. This is America. I lived in Europe. Well, where do you live? New York. Well, do you agree that have you get into politics? I mean, do you get involved in anything? I don't get in the West Side Democrat Club, but that's the answer. And I really believe it's an imperative, you know, in your life, in my life. We gave up the goddamn county commissioner seats, 2 of them. We turned our backs on politics for a while. Now they're trying to put an industrial park up here. We don't have I'm used to punching buttons on it, you know, button the light. Yeah, as long as there's weight on it, you know. Yeah, pick it up and you call somebody. That's not power, that's not leverage, except in that I believe that we are all in this, in a way, together, and the democracy mandates that. If you don't do it, somebody else will. That's Dr. John. Can I do it?
Yeah, I have it. A lot of what you write about politics gets printed in European publications in a different language. I saw a magazine from Germany that's quoting you. How does
The
that?
tempo? It's a sex magazine. Yep. You get a copy of it?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Harry? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you translate to the Europeans? Do they
You
see
get that face thing too, girl. We'll see.
How do you translate? Do they see you as the common voice, or do they see you as somebody that's speaking out similar to them, but is completely out of step with the general feeling in this country?
I have a fax memo from the editor in Germany. It came last night. Really didn't get hold of it, and they just wrote it. But despite my brain damage, I have to remember things. And it says verbatim, they're asking about the caucus, what they like, who is it? And it said, if anybody can make sense of it, it will be you. Where's that thing from over? Yeah. All right. Where's the tempo thing?
And this is what you want to see.
Ah, my God. That's very good. Yeah, I mean, they're not translate to Europeans. I advertise Levi's. And they take my smoking, cigarette out.
Yeah.
And where's the tempo? We don't have tempo. That is not tempo.
I got it. Thank you.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, here I'm advertising Levi's in England. The Germans, where's that letter from over? That fax. Yeah. No, I don't know. Yeah, so I translate. You try this. How would you feel if you couldn't? I don't know what it is. Tempo, yeah? German? Elegant magazine. That's sort of a Rolling Stone. Now, don't make me sit around here and
Okay.
run through this goddamn number. I can't even. There we go. All right. Yeah. I have no idea what that means. It says Vaughn, whatever, something that's by.
Yeah, we know that it's by him.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned, right? You see the caucus? You recognize that sheriff? George Bush? I know it's a vicious and savage assault on Bush, not on the caucus. I like the caucus, and I intend to do everything I can to get him elected. And I urge everybody that I know and might listen to me to do the same.
No, he's
But for
being
my reasons of going on. You know, that's what we're into. We don't need to go to God or weird philosophical reasons. Enlightened self-interest is a form of self-interest that will keep us all going.
In your columns over the past 155 columns, you pointed out about what you see as incidents. Incidents in the current administration, incidents by the president and vice president that you thought were going to cause the public to rise up and say they've got to get out. You thought the Iran-Contra affair, you thought George Bush's involvement, President Reagan's involvement in that might affect jobs. They're still in office. Are you disappointed in the American public?
Well, I went half nuts about that for a while. And then on one, I keep referring to these calm nights, these gentle nights when power of reason rolls over me. That's why I live out there, you know. You can see that it's a nice place to have the power of reason, calmness roll over you. I remember that when I was getting very frustrated about why Bush, for instance, was getting off, period. The people, they let him waltz. They didn't talk about him. Donald Gregg, his main, his national security advisor, his main administrative assistant, was I mentioned in the Iran-Contra hearings. I mentioned once and then put aside. This was a scam that ran on for a long time, just like the defense, Pentagon procurement scandals. This is a way of life for these people. And Bush was getting off. Look, they're trying all over North, what, geek? Poindexter, you know, Habib, Hakeem, and what the General Secord, yeah. Yeah, is that justice? That those people could be tried by some court that will come in with a decision, like the New York State Supreme Court 7 years from now, when we know that Bush is guilty. And we're looking at it again. Come back to it.
Well, I just wondered if it bothered you that the public didn't rise up as you did and demand what you wrote as.
Well, I remember when I got very frustrated about that when Nixon, when the Watergate thing. It was the same feeling among all the press and the public, for that matter, knew that the master was guilty, and nothing was even happening. I mean, the trials had not begun. Let the trials begin, and something had to be done. It went on for a long time. It went on for almost 10 months. I was in the Watergate Hotel the night of that break-in. That's a weird thing. I was down there swimming laps at the Watergate Health Club. I went to the bar, the sports order, doing the news. Meanwhile, this horrible thing was going on downstairs. I can't go around looking for tape on doors. On the hotels. That makes you a little nutty. But it took a long time from the campaign in 72 to 74 to come to what was really the simple truth, that they had done this, and it wasn't anything very complex. This gun is far more precise and complex, interesting and powerful than anything that they did. That was just junk war, and it still took. And I was trying to compact it all the time, saying, "Why the hell is nothing happening here? What I was half nuts at the time, drumming for nothing to happen." And Kendall said, "Well, wait till you see when the public opinion polls go over 50% against Nixon, you will see action." And boy, it was the day after the first Gallup poll came out at 51 or 50.5 even. October, right? The hearings were ordained and put into action. 50%. That's democracy. And I feel it's you have to have some faith in it. It will work.
You realize there are a lot of journalists and would-be journalists who are looking up to you. You imagine yourself in the position of role model.
I'd like to think that if that's true, that we would have more people doing the kind of journalism that I do. Just like I wonder and wonder why I miss the generation of journalists who was supposed to come along after Watergate. You know, they knew Woodward and Bernstein. I don't think it's certainly it's not a fault of will. I mean, you say there are people down on that. There are people who look up for me. I think it may be that they look. The reason may be you've come out here to sit on. But clearly, you know, my porch is a nice place. We take it time. It's a good place to live. It's the way I want to live. And they're trying to get away with doing it. So that's right there. That may not be a reason to look up, but it may be a lesson of some sort. You know, you have to learn from. I learned from Kerouac and Hemingway and Faulkner. People who what I learned mainly from those people was that they wanted to do what they wanted to write. They got away with writing the way that they wanted to write, and made it work. So I'm not sure if people look up to me for what I do, because I say, just want to get away with it and live the way I want to. But I wonder whether or not many more. We can go to Woodward Bernstein. There really was a vacuum in like journalistic development after Watergate, rather than what we thought was coming. You know, the new world. You know, they were role models. And what do we get from that? We got Janet Cook. I don't know why that is. Why? I would think that I would have broken. I never made her broke ground for me and for other people. You know, we have to work with each other, and learn this together. I do wonder why we haven't had more. I'd be happier if, to answer your question, if there are people who were, if I can point to people other than, say, Tim Krause, who I'm very proud of, who were campaigning what the boys are the best. It's easy to do that. Now, we don't seem to be getting that. This new wave of investigative journalism, this higher quality, look what we have in government. Right? I even used to take brown bags from Maryland contractors. That was nothing compared to what's going on now.
What sets your writing apart?
I was going to ask you that. I'm serious. I don't really know. And that's true. Yeah, let me ask you that and see what you say. Maybe I can give you something to... I don't know. I have no formula. I can't answer the question right away.
Well, I'm not sure that one thing that
Why
television would take the stories the way you write them. We're not going to take it as bluntly in language.
Yeah, language is an extra, right? I don't... Well, maybe not, but go ahead.
But papers and television seem to be more afraid of libel suits. And if it's not clearly written as a column that could be construed as written with a sense of entertainment to it, it's put out just as news, the guys in charge want more proof. More statements are made.
You know, I have to be...
There's a freedom in your writing that is not present in others' writing.
Well, I don't think that I got some license from on high to do that. Whatever, criminal, lifelong criminal, delinquent. I don't like the role model, even for a generation that's one, which, after all, has me. I haven't boasted, and real criminals, as far as I don't really know that the thing. It seems to me that I just do a normal kind of reporting. Like there's nothing new about what I do. And Mark Twain did it. Tom Wolfe doesn't necessarily do it, but it's the same thing. Tom Wolfe is more of an observer, writes the way he wants to, the way he sees it. It's really difficult about writing the way you see things. If you see them in a way that is right, I have to be very accurate for being a maniac and a criminal and dubious origins at all times. I've never been sued for libel. They are threatened, and if they do, we crush them because I'm an expert on libel. I'm not right now. I'm still looking on Ed Gertz versus Chicago and where I stood in time. The libel statutes are a little hazy now as to who's a public figure. But I go to press straight from here to the presses in San Francisco. I do that with magazines. I'm always late. Always at the end of the run. There's no lawyer staff that late. Those bastards could have, go to cocktail party at 5 o'clock. Well, I work after that. And I have to be an expert on libel. If I got sued for libel, if a magazine or paper got busted for what I said about people, I'd be out of business real fast. And I have to be good. I have to know those things. But that's just being accurate. I am, as far as I'm concerned, the most accurate political journalist around. That's not taking things away from David Brooker or Tom Wicker, people like that. They're probably more technically accurate. But I have to be. I'm not protected because I'm always late. The deadlines are always on me, and I have to know. I have to make sure. I've learned over the years that I can quote Newsweek for figures and dates, whereas I can't quote time. They have a different sense of fact, date researching. You have to learn these things. You have to learn which journalists you can quote. A quoter is always accurate. You might not agree with him. Jules Whitcover is accurate. You won't say who's not, but they're... Yeah, I try to be as accurate as they are. I think I have to be. So what I really do is just journalism, I'm just good reporting, Not always good, I fuck up sometimes.
You like being a journalist. You like that more than any other kind of writing you do.
Not writing. I like to really I like to wind up and step on the bar of soap. hard enough so it journalism goes straight ahead. You going to step in the horse so too hard in the shower. I enjoy getting into writing so that I don't know what's going to happen. And the Faulkner said, if you know what the hero is going to do in a novel, give it up and write something else. You have to know. Not yet. You can't know because then you're faking it. So I prefer that kind of writing. But journalism is more like politics. It's like a cross between my visible sense and my writing, my pure writing sense. I haven't read poems, just in terms of being a writer. That's why I use that, notice that poem there.
Start off the book. Yes.
Yeah. I meant we were reading, let me just try it. And there's a reason why I put that in there. I didn't have to read it. Earth perceived, honored guests, William Lake, Yates, Lake the rest. I don't want to read the whole thing, but it's sort of an agreement between those of us who really use the language and like it and love it. It's like music. Yeah, I see real writing as very, very close to music. But journalism is like politics. And I don't know why I feel like I have to get involved, but I see what happens when I don't get involved. I get fucked up. I get pushed around. My friends get annoyed. Our lives are not as good as they might be. And so journalism is a result-oriented kind of writing. Yeah, I write in order to hurt people. I write in order to move people. That involves judgments. And I'm having trouble going back in my political writing and looking at the judgments I've made, saying that Tax Colson should be dragged by his nuts behind a huge Oldsmobile through the streets of Washington. He's that much of a criminal. I've been pretty good about my judgment. I once, I did say, the only one that I regret, the only political judgment, and I make husband. And I make them often in the face of, no, that's not true. I think what I do is mainly the judgments I make, I find, are more the ones that the smartest and the best people in our business. Well, we talk about at night, but they don't write. Now that's what bothers me. The editors in this business, we're all in this business, and I don't think I make judgments out of some. I have no special wire anywhere. But I think it's just mainly, like it means it's a pig. The vice president is a crook. Nixon was a crook. Agnew did take payments out of a brown bag. Agnew was a swine.
Those are harsh judgments. Other people may think them, but they don't seem to put them down on paper.
Why not? You know that. You know that Mises is a swine. We've been talking about it. A pig. We have something. I like to drink whiskey. I know that Mises is a pig. There are big, beautiful posters all over Washington. He's a criminal, and you know it, okay? You have to say, but I will say it for you, because I know you know it. Jane Pauley knows it. The people who run RCA or, the corporate, they know he's a crook. I don't know. It's not so hard to say it. It's easier, in fact. The truth is just easy. I'm just lazy. It's easier to tell the truth than it is to have to defend the lie the next day. The truth is, what the hell? It's the shortest line between 2 points. It's like a straight line. If you don't lie, your life will be maybe not easier, but the truth will hurt you sometime. I get you in trouble. But don't get you in any kind of trouble that you get in for having to revise your story for the next 200 years, like Nixon. Remember the guy who all he had to do was burn those tapes. The thing he cared about most is position in history, and after he still worries about that. He has a book on the bestseller list. He keeps writing books trying to justify himself. Well, he can't. Why? He's still trying to do that. And look at the energy he's burned up. If he could have this. The next thing he tell the truth about football. I thought he had a very sharp mind about football. He could go from A to B. But I'm just pointing out that the truth is just simple. For a lazy person, that's why I like it.
Do you regret anything you've written about anyone? Have you ever made too harsh a judgment?
Yeah, but I think serious. I thought about that. Well, I regret only one that I think of in politics, and it was about Hubert Humphrey. We went through a period of revisionism recently where Humphrey was held up as a, this is how bad things are. You know about generations of swine. And Hubert Humphrey is held in like the good old days, the model of what it was like when real men in the country. Well, Humphrey was a lying dog. He was the most prudent son of a bitch I've ever seen covering in all of politics. He was worse than Nixon. Nixon was a, in some ways, Nixon didn't even know he was lying. He was, see? Humphrey knew he was lying. But he thought it was right. And I did say that he should be castrated so that his genes cannot be passed on to future generations. That he was so dishonest, so wrong, and such a disgrace to everything right about in the human nature and the mechanics of democracy, which is, it does involve people knowing the truth about something. If you're always confused and people are lying to you, Hubert Humphrey says he's a Jew one day, and he was born in Argentina. The next thing,
Well, do you regret that?
Humphrey was a criminal. Humphrey was a liar. Well, I did say that Humphrey should have his, he'd be castrated, like a sheep, you know, a rubber band he would fit around his nuts and they would drop off. And it wouldn't hurt. And he would not be able to pass his genes on. I learned later that he did have, in fact, a brain-damaged grandson, which I didn't know about. And that was cruel. It was something I didn't mean to do. However, if he cut his nuts off before that, he wouldn't have the brain.
Can't help yourself.
Yeah. It was cruel. I regret that. I did things in haste, but no, I don't regret. I don't.
Do you regret anything about the way you've lived? You have a reputation for living out on an edge that others don't even approach.
Now, wait a minute. Look around you. It's not that. It's just not. I come from a peaceful spot. Even when all the technology around us. This is a peaceful thing. We're having a decent time. Even working. I mean, what's your apartment like? So I assume it was an apartment. I don't. No, I'm a quiet, respectable citizen. Well, I have a book in the bestseller list. My son just graduated from college. Someone come around. I live in a peaceful place here. The lawn's almost cut. Yeah. Well, I don't find it so weird. When I shoot a gun here and there, I might drink whiskey on camera. Really, but why is it? This is an honest question. I'm not trying to be combative. Is it that weird that I live this way? What do you see up with a gas grill here? It's an ancient, White House telephone. Heineken beers.
No, we don't know that it's maybe the reputation, maybe the past reputation.
Have you been
is
here
greater
for a
than
while?
the reality.
I haven't changed anything. I've been
So you regret nothing about the way you...
nothing. God damn. Yeah, there are things I regret. Momentary decisions. I have a feeling that you're talking about larger conceptual regrets. No. Well, like I said, I've been a lawyer, gone to law school, and been powerful and rich. That was fine. I hire lawyers. I have lawyers, because you've noticed I never forced eat food from a lawyer. Or whiskey. And you see the Holy Bible sitting out here. Really, how many people do you go to who got the Bible with you? And we're talking directly about what we're concerned with, politics, life. The Bible's here. There's no joke. I mean, I use the Bible. Why isn't I work on, I was All-Star, Super Bowl, a ruby around my neck, what the hell? I wonder just how weird. Why?
Like sports.
Yeah, I'm an athlete and a nice guy, that's what I told you earlier.
But we read those books and we read how that you're...
What do you read now? Let's think about that.
Remember Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? You jumped in the convertible, loaded up with pharmaceuticals, headed off at a breakneck pace, armed and dangerous.
My attorney had a weapon that I didn't know about. It was in the back seat. And at the time, though, living in the zeitgeist at the time, it was not that unusual to, if you're going to go to Las Vegas for a free weekend, it was not that unusual to load up on a few recreational drugs. Nancy Reagan had not yet got into the arena. Just say no, something but yeah, that was not quite. It was maybe a quantitative perhaps, and then qualitative. We drove faster. We got more recreational substances. We got ether. But what? I mean, there's nothing unusual about marijuana, or Amyls, or Budweiser, or cocaine, or mescaline. It's quite rational to do. It may be that I wrote it, but I did pump those tires in that white Cadillac. I went in the textile station, and I was tired of it cornering in a mushy way. And I would do, this thing that you had that blew up the hill there. It was cornering in an hideous way. I would like to have taken it over to the Quick Mart and whacked 75 pounds of pressure in the tires. It would have cured a lot of things. It doesn't dip that much.
All right, let me tell you what I've observed in a short time.
Be quick. I have a run on there.
We got it now. We're rolling now.
Well, I'm involved in it. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll do.
I don't like to preach. And if you catch me in some weird scam,
You're right.
I would put this to do it.
Just in the short time I've been here, I've observed. If something isn't going quite right, if you get a little frustrated, you are someone who will take an action, and a decisive action, and sometimes an extreme action. Where others might say, oh, well, let it ride. You don't let anything ride.
Give me one example of extreme. I think you're right, but extreme being what? I didn't stab anybody. What do you mean by extreme?
No, not necessarily.
Give me an example. You're right, I'm sure you're right.
All right, lighting the barbecue grill. We needed some heat. You were going to light it. So here's a burning thing. You just pick it up with your hand rather than finding a match or getting someone to bring one out. You're going to pick up a whole Kleenex that is on fire with your hand and throw it in there. Not everybody would do that.
It worked fine. It didn't hurt. I'm just wondering.
But that's the way
it was
you're
right.
at.
If it hurt me, it burned me. I'm not some macho freak who would tell you these are all pick up hurting Kleenexes and I'll do it again. Oh no,
Well, that's why
I was working
I'm
to
using
do
a specific example.
Okay, that's good. But I think it worked. Maybe it was weird. It blew up. But that was just a little bit of a flare.
It also gives you something to write about.
I'm not going to write about that. You're the one that's using this. You're the one that's on camera.
Forget the specific incident.
Yeah.
Forget the specific
Okay.
incident. All of the extremes, though, you do write about.
Well,
It
it
may
may be what I
It
was
became
saying.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, a normal drive for a weekend.
I asked her to do a 250-word paragraph for Sports Illustrated and to get my attorney away from his kind of a bodyguard. Those are logical progressions. We ended up in Las Vegas. It was a lot older whenever I could work. Oh, why not? We're going to drive across the desert, have a little fun. I could have my weekend paid for it. I had to get him away from these bodyguards. We were on a murder case, and I couldn't talk to him without those people around. That was just thinking. We were going to pull over those. Let's get out of here. He said, I can't leave. He was part of a movement. I was a Labacho, a white boy. And he was an attorney for a bunch of really active people. He wasn't doing about extremes. Yeah, I'm not with them. We just throw who come in here and practice with their volatile flaxseed. You know, mix up the soap and the gasoline and the oil, the proportions, 1/3 soap, out in the back, and that was normal. They got it safely, boom. I wasn't getting him away from that. I was thinking like a professional, get him away from this madness. He had axe fight and torture. So I took him. I had an assignment that I could do. I wanted to go to Las Vegas. I didn't want to go to Las Vegas. I just happened to be in a polo lounge with my attorney, who was involved in a lot of weird things. And I was trying to get him away so I could talk to him to do the story. And I had an assignment. I called Time Inc. on Wilshire Boulevard and said, I changed my mind. I will go to Las Vegas. All I did was try to catch him. But the story got out of hand. And I sent him 2,500 words. I didn't think too much about what had happened, why the weekend was weird. I sent them a longer story than I did ask for. They wanted to catch him to the minute 400. And they were paying my expenses, and that's all they wanted. They paid my expenses. Well, they didn't really, but they refused to. I sent them 2,500 words, which is part of the lead of the book. They vanished it. What do you mean, you suck? We asked you for 2,500 words on an off-the-road race. And what is this? Gibberish you sent us. They rejected it. You bastard. It was good. It was good writing. And so I took it to Rolling Stone. I took the winner and said, hey, I have 2,500 words here. It all gets back to being lazy. I had 2,500 words I knew were syllable. And it was fun. And boy, nothing beats the kind of fun you get when you're really on the music really rolls. You asked about like writing? Yeah, I love writing when it works. Yeah, drugs. You don't make drugs that do that to you. What do you feel when you're ready? Well, you know it. It could be madness. It could be insane. But I know when I really hit it.
Does the writing ever? Does it flow? You talk about how difficult it is. It's a tough profession. It's hard to be a weekly columnist. You sit down sometimes in the columns. Is it like a song? Sometimes it just flows out nonstop. Other times you just work and work and work at it.
Hey, when Sports Illustrated turns down 2,500 beautiful words that I just wrote for them because they wanted 250, yeah, it flows. I get angry. I don't tend to write much of anything that isn't oriented to personally and I actually don't read it so much as I tend to write off the chair or sitting on the porch or wherever I am in a car. The typewriter is always with me rather than in the library somewhere. Yeah, I'm a writer. And if I wasn't a writer, I'd have to get a job. I have to work on that. I work for, I worked a lot. It didn't.
Well, you like the experience of being there. You told me you like being a participant. But do you like sitting down and putting it together as a writer?
Not until the water is part, and you walk on that fine white sand, that dry sand, across the sea. Who was it? Moses, yeah. Water is part? Think of that. That's what it feels when you're very... and that happened for very long. There are moments in this book, which is really just a collection of things, and a very scary one at that. Well, I'm trying to think. I don't get into it too much. Well, here, I don't like to read my own stuff. I can't do it very well. But now, this will tell you a little bit about the music now. There are 1 or 2 punctuation marks in there which I tried desperately to take out. Because I wrote this as one sentence. I think it starts, This is it says one sentence without. Finally, I put it together. It didn't take long. It came out like that. But try that without any punctuation. This thing here is I still like Joe Biden and other people who steal, but I steal from the right people and I have taste. This opening is from Blue Velvet. It's a strange world. But try to that's a sentence, man. And that's no, there's punctuation in here. But we don't have to use it. Just try to read it. That's what I consider. That's what I'm here for. It's we discussed all of life in one sentence. And I got it down after. This is a previous draft. But try it.
Now, did this come fairly quickly to you?
Yeah, right straight through. I was angry.
Let's start with heaven. Heaven is a bit harder to find. Heaven is a bit harder to figure, and there's some things that not even smart
we should
boy-
start with hell a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, it's a strange world. Some people get rich and others eat shit and die. That man will feel his heart burst and call it beautiful. Who knows? If there is, in fact, a heaven and a hell, all we know for sure is that hell will be viciously overcrowded version of Phoenix. A clean, well-lighted place full of sunshine and bromides and fast cars where almost everybody seems vaguely happy, except for the ones who know in their hearts what is missing, being striven slowly and quietly into the kind of terminal craziness that comes with finally understanding that the one thing you want is not there, missing, backordered. No tango, vaya con Dios, grow up, small is better, take what you can get. Heaven is a bit harder to figure, and there are some things that not even a smart boy can tell you for sure, but I can guess or wonder, or maybe just think like a gambler or a fool to some kind of activist rock and roll lunatic and make it about 8-1 that heaven will be a place where the swine will be sorted out at the gate and sent off like rats with huge welts and lumps and puncture wounds all over their bodies, down the long black chute where ugliness rolls over you every 10 or 16 minutes like waves of boiling asphalt and poison scum, followed by sergeants and lawyers and crooked cops, waving rule books and where nobody laughs and everybody lies and the days drag by like dead animals and the nights are full of whores and junkies clawing at your windows and taxmen jamming writs under your door and the screams of the doom coming up through the air shaft along with white cockroaches and red steam worms full of AIDS bursting of foul gas with no sunrise and the morning sheets full of preachers begging for money and fondling themselves with gangs of young fat boys trailing after them.
That's one sentence. No, you try that. And that is fun. That really is fun. And thank you for getting through it. It's almost impossible to read. I think you put a comma in there, but that's a sentence, and it covers a lot of things. But wouldn't that be fun to write, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know, what do you get in television that's that much fun? I'm sure there is such thing, but that's what I mean for...
You know what? You say you spent half your life trying to get away from journalism, but you're still mired in it. A low trade and a habit worse than heroin. Strange seedy world full of misfits and drunkards and failures. Why do you say that about journalism?
It's true. I wouldn't say that wasn't true.
A group photo of the top 10 journalists in America on any given day would be a monument to human ugliness.
Yeah, that's true. You try to jog your mind, you know, Jewel, Whitcover, Broder, Tom Wicker, you know, look at those little ugly.
Well, why have you spent half your life trying to get away from it?
Well, I never thought of myself as a journalist. You know, I'm an artist, you know, a novelist. And I always use journalism just as the way to pay the rent, you know, the ticket to ride. And here's a hideous thing. Imagine, turn it all the way to the end. And you'll see women, we're grave in presumptions in the history of all literature. I stole, you know, try that last sentence there?
The last sentence?
Yeah. Or just whatever the, you know, last part.
Last part.
It's a shame, you'll see why.
Why, it was like hearing that Agnes Busky had written the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, or that Ed Meese wakes up every morning and hurls $100 bills across the Potomac. I hung up the phone and felt crazy, and I walked back to the hotel in the rain.
They recognize that one, you know? You come from somewhere you live. I stole that line from Hemingway. That's a stolen line. To close, for a writer to steal a line, that's from Farewell to Arms. The closing line, Farewell to Arms, to steal a line from Hemingway and close your own book with it. It's like I told Jim Silverman at Summit, I can't do this. You know, I did it in the paper. But I do it, you know, all of these things are written
And there are no quote marks around it.
Not at all. Yeah, none. And I did it. And I think it's a huge tribute to her. But I don't technically understand it. I mean, I hear writer steals Hemingway's best line, the one he closes best book with.
And you close your own book with it.
Yeah. And not even use quote marks. That's, you asked about crazy, that's crazy. And it's still, and I do it again, it's the best line that I had at the time. I mean, it's right. It was nuts. And I didn't make any wholesale. Don't worry about it. I torture that red fox. I like to see them jump though. And I was deliberate. I can steal the Gatsby. But it's kind of if I wrote it. It's a matter of taste, you know. If you steal from the best, it's a compliment. If you steal from dumb thugs and incompetent charlatans and pigs, if I stole from Ed Meese, that would be a commentary on my head, my heart, my soul, everything. I would be scum. If I steal from Hemingway, close my book with it, I feel better. I feel elevated. I don't know about you, but yeah, that's a word, line.
You write in your book that when the conversation turns to death and dying, others get scared. That's when you come alive.
That's it. It makes some people uncomfortable with that word.
You're not afraid of the subject.
Well, I can't be. You know, I live in the midst of it all the time. I've been planning to, not planning, but expecting to die for so long that I get nervous. It makes me nervous to be around, be a responsible parent and citizen, taxpayer, preaching democracy and wanting these pastors to leave those stupid drugs alone, get out and vote. Really. And there are a lot of contradictions. They're apparent. Maybe or like a conundrum. What do you make of that? I don't know. You seem like a smart boy. I think you can probably figure out more or less what I'm about. What do you make of that? You'd be the craziest person in the world and also responsible. And people ask me who should be president and why are you doing these drugs and what's wrong with you? Get into jail or do some detox unit. And by the way, who's going to be president? So tell me what it all means, Alfie. I have to be. That's a hard. That's a heavy load. The queer load. To be the craziest person in the world and also the smartest.
People want they want a philosopher, and they want somebody who will take the chances for them.
I just try to tell them it's fun to take the chances, and it's not that dangerous for me. I'm like Muhammad Ali. My case is not cut.
But you are getting older, as we all are.
Oh, yeah.
Are you worried about mortality? You can't go at the same speed all your life. Even that 63 Cadillac Coupe de Ville slows down. It doesn't go as fast as it did.
That's because you don't take care of it. Yeah, the damn thing ran out of power because we had it 9,000 feet. All of a sudden, going uphill on a Jeep cut, not even a road. We're taking a 20-year-old car, 25-year-old car, up a hill that we couldn't walk up.
Yeah, but do you think you're taking care of yourself?
Well, I don't know. We have to see, I suppose. I don't feel any worse than I did when I was 22. It really has been a long year since 22. I think of myself always as 22. It's a nice age.
You slowed down a little.
Well, I'm not going to read for a family newspaper. You want to go and get my fucking pages for my sex book? You'll be fired forever. You'll be blacklisted from television for reading.
Well, now, let me tell you how you're more responsible now. The stories were legend, how you could never get anything in on time for Rolling Stone. Now you've done 155 columns in a row, getting them in, making every deadline week after week. Is that not a change in Hunter Thompson?
Yeah, on the calendar change, for sure. I can't really understand that. Well, another thing I like about journalism, and one of the reasons that I've stuck with it, like I said, Jones, is that I like to learn things, and I'm happy when I'm learning. that keeps me going. And journalism allows me. I always figured that we're in a roundabout stage of education for a long time. Yeah, if I wonder about what's happening in Libya, in Hong Kong, anywhere, if I want to know what's happening in any area at all, I can go there and find out. And there's some kind of some of these runners, these joggers, talking about the entropy, or whatever, the body's natural morphine. That's a downer. To go somewhere and learn to get off a plane, a place you've never been, with a first-class ticket, all your expenses paid, to work with good people. Journalists, I found really are the best people. Yeah, that's another factor. You able to do that, to go wherever you want, and do whatever you want, and to learn while you're doing it, and get paid for it is a magnificent luxury. Yeah, and you know, it does seem to me like it's been maybe 15 or 16 months since I was trying to take careers. Yeah, I'm reminded of it now and then, but when we try get naked and do the trampoline and look at these bastards. Everybody had beefcake pictures of me. Yeah, and that's I was impressed by that kind of thing. I tried to get that picture taken off.
Here's a picture of you without a shirt throwing a football.
Yeah. Well,
showing that you're alive and well.
I'm still alive and well. I'm not, none of the terrible things that are supposed to happen to me have happened, and if they did, then the people who predicted it about 25 years late, what's the doctor worth if he's going to be right 25 years later? The doctor here in town, this quack Morgan, I resent to fire him because he gave me a letter to get off a jury duty with a judgment on my health. But it was during the 72 campaign I went to see him, and I was pouring green sweat, going 10 and 15 pounds up and down, not that much. I weighed this very. I still have, I wear clothes that I wore in high school. I have a Palm Beach suit. Shirts, pants are maybe an inch or so off, but I'm rather than saying I don't agree that much. And Morgan told me I was going to die. I didn't give up all this whiskey. I told him I'd be eating all this speed, hard life through the campaign. And I went along with his gibberish for a while. I drink tea instead of whiskey. He tried drinking a quart of tea a night. Damn, it drove me completely mad. Yeah, I go down there in the war room and get on the typewriter with a quart of tea. Tannic acid is what I do. I'm talking crazier than LSD. I went back to whiskey. It's clean. It's good whiskey. Bad whiskey is like tea. I tried drinking a quart of coffee, 2 quarts of coffee a night. I think, I'm going to put this.
Okay. Just shoot some cutaways. Yeah. Set us up. We got this.
We have
We got this.
monumental.
The greatest success in Massachusetts is because Tip O'Neill was Speaker of the House and built every kind of works project.
Why has the caucus wiped out this field of people, all of whom should have beaten him? Why is the caucus the only survivor? Is that Bessie? Who?
Well, there may be a reason they were nicknamed the Seven Dwarfs to start with.
Yeah, but here one of them is now going to beat George Bush and be president. We hope. I think.
It may not have been the strongest field again.
Oh, wait a minute. Why is he there?
You had Richard Gephardt, who had one issue, and not a very attractive issue when exposed to law. Built around protectionist and foreigner bashing.
Well, yeah, but why was the field so? Why was it the Seventh War? Gary Hart. Well, God damn it.
See,
that crazy bastard.
You had a messianic candidate almost, although he wasn't particularly inspiring in public, but he was getting that kind of following. And he shot himself in the penis, as they say.
Tripped over his dick. Gary was the when he
Had it wrapped, nobody has ever had it so wrapped up so early and guaranteed, and guaranteed to the White House. He would have walked his...
The numbers between Gary and George Bush, week before he tripped over his neck, or was exposed, were 42 to 16. Gary was that far ahead in the polls. 42%, 16%. And Dixon, a friend of mine, his campaign manager, said Gary was the closest thing they've had to a president in waiting.
Yeah. And the closest Democratic challenger was Jesse Jackson, who was going to finish second to whoever ran.
And they were together. Jesse and Gary had worked out the Super Tuesday in the South. Yeah, Gary would have made Jesse the vice presidential candidate. He would have been powerful. He would have been strong enough. He would have had enough leverage to risk it, whereas the Congress can't.
Okay, I'm going to have to ask you a couple of questions.
Oh, I see. The real questions now.
Yeah. Well, the ones we asked before.
Oh, okay.
But you don't have to answer.
Well, I'm getting back to my problem now. But that's what the Germans want to know. Who the hell is the caucus and why is he winning? This is the ultimate knife for the mercenaries. And, yeah, it's the Gerber Mark I. It's the best.
You write in your book that the Bible is often a source of material, something that you read. The Gideon Bible has provided you with comfort at night when nothing else could.
Now, wait a minute. Comfort at night. The Gideon Bible has been there nights in hotels where nothing else was. And yeah, you do know, I'm sure. The weird and
Okay.
natural. I get. All right. Want to just do the video?
Just the question. These are questions I asked earlier. This is just a shot of me asking.
I see you're changing the fucking format. You're changing the text. My answers don't matter, and you're changing the questions.
No, you've already answered. Are we ready?
Okay. So my answers don't matter in the question.
Yeah, you can just do 2 words and then answer.
I can just stand in the line.
Huh?
We're going to put the original answer.
Oh, you're changing the question.
No. This is the same question.
Okay. All right. Whatever you want.
Why do you like journalism so much? It's a love-hate relationship. You're talking here that you've spent half your life trying to get away from it, and yet that's what you do.
I told you I was lazy, and I can do it. And people pay me to sit here on the porch. Not that you're paying me, but yeah, in some way I'll get paid.
Okay.
Yeah. Better than having a job.
You had the image. You had the image of living life out there on the edge, taking it just a little bit further than anybody else would. Is some of that strictly for image, or is that the way you approach life?
Well, there's one thing for sure, I think, is that I'm not a musician in my life, but perhaps less than anybody else in the world, to worry about my image. I have locked in to whatever I have been since I was 15 or 14 or 9 years old. Yeah. Well, I can't. What the fuck? I want an image. I hire like an image of my. Whatever it is, how could I quit it? Could I get out of this? Could I change?
I don't know.
There's nowhere in the world I can go without me wearing that. You know, I can't even get a false passport. I'm glad I see you did that. I did it about 19 times, goddammit. I was feeling clumsy. Just for the record, or off the record, whatever. I consider myself a very conservative country gentleman who just happens to be in journalism, and might even be a model citizen. Okay, that's how I look at it. And I just got an athlete. That's where that's where I start.
Yes.
So if we bring in that'd be a burden. I'm sure you have secret vices. I have no. I wouldn't even dream about it. I have no. I could run.
You have no
president.
secrets.
I could run for president. They couldn't touch me. As Sims has said, every crime I've ever committed is already on the record. I've been paid for it.
Are you hearing him at all? In my mic?
Yeah, you hear it.
Okay. What's this now about every crime you can?
Hold on.
Okay.
Well, there was a time when I was going to run for the Senate from here. And I actually backed off because I didn't want to have to run against Gary. I should have, right? Because I would have been senator, and then I could run for president now and be safe from all these hideous low-rent exposures and attacks. Things we brought up in law school 20 years ago. I have no secrets or crimes that have not been, as my friend Sam Hunter has said. Everything I've ever done is on the record, and I've been paid for it. All my crime. But again, I'm totally clean. I have no idea. Look around. Whatever you see here, you're in my house. You can wander around. My record is clean. Or it's not clean. I'm an utterly clean candidate. I'm a candidate for the.
Your life is an open book, and you wrote the book. you tattled on yourself.
Well, yeah, but maybe I should run for president for that reason. I could not be attacked. Like George Bush is guilty. The caucus may be that way. He was an Eagle Scout. I hope the caucus is as sort of dull and competent as he appears to be. We need a fair. We need some competence. We need to.
Do we need any more shots or through? Okay.
All right.
Done with Hunter. We can take off Hunter's mic.
This is my own effort. I'm the only fucking journalist alive who's never erased the tape. Can you imagine what I have? That's a big help. You only see a few rooms. It's twice this size, in fact, twice again down the basement.
Oh, you got a basement here?
Oh, Jesus. Again, this many rooms. I have the war room, the writing room, another big fireplace down there. Oh, bedrooms, yeah. There's an entire place.
How many bedrooms do you have?
That's how I use them. I got one out back here, not the wall out. Oh, 5 or 6, depending on whether all these are stored. Then we got one out for storage of tapes. Never reached a tape in 20 years of journalism. Being the first journalist to use the pen cassette. And I go into a room down there. And there are tapes of Nixon, 1958. Stuff like that. It was very dry weather out there. Things hold very well. Paper gets a little brown, but tape stick, and pick up a Key West or humidity appeal. But you can play a tape from Hell's Angels, 1955. It'll come good. It's a filing problem. That's all. Yeah, never reached the tape. Whereas most people use them, like just for confirmation of yesterday's story tomorrow. I don't know why. I just never have. And people are aware that I take claims. All kinds of people. And even then, my greatest asset in journalism, which I always found to be a low occupation, has been that people trusted me, and that I have an obligation to return that. And you just have to take my word for that. We go the whole gamut. Can you imagine having dealt with every kind of criminal from Sonny Parker and President Peru and to Richard Nixon and Gary Hart and George McGovern, who will always be my standard of there is a class act in American politics. George did Monday. Yeah, George's the best person I've run across in politics. He might have been a good president or not, you don't know. It would seem that the system might have been out of whack if George had not been a good president. But he was the... Yeah, he really honored the system. He made you proud to be part of it. And, well, I just happen to know George a lot better than I think Bobby Kennedy or Jack. But what worries me about this election now is if George Bush wins, that'll be, 12 years of a degraded, corrupt, criminal, irresponsible, take it when you get it, punk it for, all the wrong ones they said about, all the evil ones they said about Republicans have been proven. It'd be insane that you think that the Attorney General would be so crooked that he would have to be, after screwing his pants in the morning, he would have to be carried out of Washington by people who made a deal with him. Which is what Meese is. Meese is a disgrace to the system, I think. He's worse than Agnew. Agnew took money in brown bags in the White House, in the executive office building, where his office was. They finally moved him out of the White House. He was too crooked for even Nixon. But Meese is crooker than goddamn Agnew. Meese is crooker than Nixon. Nixon was at least a sport. He was a player. These are just groundhogs. These are cheap bastards. And with an actor at the head. And a generation in politics has grown up with these people at the head of the political system. And it goes down, it bounces down. You know, if a crook can run the country, then a crook can run the state, and a crook can run the city, and why get into politics? We have a generation now that if Bush wins, we'll never know the fun, the action. Well, that's true.
Of getting involved and being
moved. And I believe in
possibilities.
Yeah, I believe that you can take the White House. You can go out to president and be perfect. Well, that's what Nixon, presidents. Johnson, Nixon, well, that's two. That's better than anybody else will know, and boy, that's a rush. And to work in a campaign with Bobby Kennedy. I got into politics with Jack Kennedy. And I learned then that the most important thing in politics is to beat Richard Nixon, which I lived with all along. And that was a good lesson, and it stayed with me, and it was right. These were good people. And Chief McCarthy was a good person. And George McGovern was good. I mean, we had good people on our side, with us, we were with them. Each made a choice. It wasn't all crooks and all slimy bastards and a choice of lesser of evils. It really was a good thing. Now, whether Jack Kennedy was will be judged by history as being he only had 3 years. It was it's not fair to judge him at all, really, in the presidency. You judge him as a politician, and he was the best. He was like Muhammad Ali. He came in at a time when, like this one now, after the Eisenhower years, if Nixon had won in '60, my generation then would have been out of politics. Kennedy got me into politics, and I've been there ever since. And that's what I'm afraid to happen now, if Bush wins, that we will have a generation, maybe 8 years, usually talk about 8 years, Carter and Ford, we're flawed. 12 years in the middle of your life, from your age of 20 to 32 or 24 to 36, something like that. That's a big chunk of your life, or if you're not involved in politics, which is fun. I mean, to be involved in a good political campaign and to win is a motherfucker. Even to lose, it's worth doing. And that's what we're going to lose, I think. That's really why I'm. Bush is just a slimy bureaucrat. He's not as evil as Nixon and not nearly as much fun, but I'm not thinking about the generation in politics and the involvement that I know. For a fact, how old are you?
32.
So you've had that's a big chunk of your life. And well, I don't know. Have you voted for Reagan, or who are you going to vote I'm telling you what I'm doing, so you...
Right. No, I'll vote for the caucus, I'm sure, but I never have voted for Reagan.
Do you feel any... Have you ever been in a campaign? National, state, local?
On the local level.
Do you have any sense of what I'm talking about?
Right, I was involved in a losing campaign for a state Senate position.
Was it fun to do?
It was doomed to failure, but
Hey, the government lost by 24 points, and that's still the best campaign I've ever in. Well, I don't know, Bobby Kennedy was shot in the head. And, but do you have any sense what I'm talking about, that politics can be fun and can be honorable? Well, then you can see, but if a generation goes by,
it's
that
not
doesn't know
honorable.
that.
It's
Yeah, but it can't be. And I don't know who the hell. It's a horrible thing. I was talking to Ed Bradley the other night, and he raised really the grim question that, well, why is it that we, and when you say we have to be the Democrats, so that's the opposition. I'm registered Democrat because I have to vote here. I'm basically an independent. But when you say we, yeah, if I was the Ed, I don't even know how he's registered. The caucus, I don't know. He's a Democrat. So it's really against them. Why can't we put up better people? I don't know. That worries me. And Bradley brought it up. Where's him? And boy, if we lose the place this time, we have a crook. We have a limp, certified. Every other whip has been beaten. Well, it should be beaten. It really should. If we lose this one, I hate to say it, but it's going to be a long time before we get back into politics again. And Bush will come out of a situation that he should have lost. There is no reason, no vice president, no sitting vice president, no incumbent vice president since Martin Van Buren, I think it's 1845, has won. And this is not a springboard. This is a broken hopping board.
this is a supposedly much more enlightened electorate too.
Yeah, this is the baby boom. This is the Rolling Stone generation. These are the smart boys. Girls. Now this is all the good things have happened. The bulge, the enlightened group, like rich, smart, powerful in numbers. They've got BMWs. They have access to politicians. They know how important it is. They have read Rolling Stone. They like it. It's fun. They've been in politics in California, in New York, Massachusetts, even in Texas, and Louisiana. Yes. Well, I won't say everything because in the 86 congressional campaigns, Reagan got his ass kicked, and we won. Throw in Louisiana, Fowler, and Georgia in the South went Democratic. That was a big turn. Yeah, it's hard to avoid reality, and I don't want to avoid it. I hate to confront it, and it puts me in a weird place. But Jesse Jackson does speak to this generation of political activists, people who Jesse Jackson is, whatever else he is, he speaks for the honorable side of politics. He has a sense of politics, American politics, what it can do, what it should do. Jesse is using the system like it should be used. And if Jesse were white, he would, there'd be no question, would there? Would you agree with me?
No question.
That says something, and it bothers me. And it bothers me to the extent where I have to face that question about whether it's more important for me to beat George Bush or to vote my instincts and what I'm telling you, what I've learned about politics. And boy, when it comes to, I'm going to see the caucus next week or somewhere in the before the convention. And I really dread it. because I don't know what the hell I'm going to have to tell him about Jesse. If I were running to Guggen's place, I would put Jesse on the ticket.
You
Well,
would.
no, I would have to. I would be forced to. Whether I would tell the caucus to do it, I don't know. Well, I would have to because I could make it work, I would think. I ran for sheriff in a freak power ticket. I'll give you a picture of my political poster. You know, it's bizarre, crazy. And I lost my 4 points. I could make that work, so I would believe that anyway. I would think that. I think Jesse speaks to the best of our instincts. And I just couldn't leave off. You know, I would be compelled. I would have to recognize.
It's because you have a conscience.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't like to think that Huggins doesn't.
But he's.
Well, nor do I want to
Yeah.
lose to George Bush. You know, that's a judgment of the country. My decision on that. Like what I was told. That's why I have a way of writing about it. Well, let me ask you: should I write that Huggins is a lame bureaucrat? That he won't put Jesse as vice president, and he should.
It depends if you think Dukakis can do a lot of good simply by getting into the White House, no matter who is his vice president.
Okay, I shouldn't.
You have to take the long. That's a cop-out answer, but you have to take the long view.
All right. Well, the cop-out.
Is that scenario better?
It was a cop-out question. I was cheating there. It was a cop-out question. I have to know that Jesse does not expect to be the vice presidential candidate. I know that what he wants, though, is the opportunity to turn it down gracefully, and it has to be an honest offer. And he doesn't know what the hell he's going to do beyond that. I know people in that campaign. I know this is true. And I think it's a really graceful way of doing it, but I'm not sure Dukakis understands it. I hope he does. If Jesse can be offered it, this is a risk. You know, you have to trust Jesse for a long and terrible moment. He does not expect to be. He knows, like you and I do, the risk of running things. And it's not at the end of his political life. He's in good shape. He wants to be treated. He wants respect. You know, like an NFL running back. You know, when you hear salaries or it's a street term. You know, respect. And they stiffed him in '84. They gave him a speech. I had a speech over there. Well, I have a. If you want to see a good political speech, speaking to politics in America, you should see Jesse Jackson's speech in California after losing the primary by 15 points. Gary cleaned up. 3-1-305 Elliott. Jesse made a speech, which I have over here. I have every conceivable. I haven't erased any videotapes either. And miles of the fuckers. I have every primary from 76 on. I have no idea what to do with them. But Jesse's 84. Yeah, I think we'd go in a acceptance speech. Is it'll make you well.
That was 84 speech at the convention. It was good too.
Well, it was good, but not like this. This is in LA by 4 in the morning. And CNN was the only only people who carried it. And I kept trying to get him off. And he went on for, an hour and a half, something like that. Get it going. Yeah, here in the world, you look at it. I'm going to do it tonight. Oh, let me. Why did this thing ring? It did ring. Let me, yeah, Bush has been the congressman from Texas, the ambassador de facto to China, the chairman of the GOP, the head of the CIA, the ambassador to the UN, vice president, and a main player in all Republican politics, Which those titles absolutely guaranteed. Don't worry about it. Don't even think about arguing it. Whoever does that is can involve deeply. All right, here we go. I'm getting heard here.
Trained as a number 2 man. He's been content all his career to be in other people's shadows.
It's not the title you have, it's what you've done when you have the title. What did you do in the job? And what can you tell us precisely what
Dumb bastard, man. He could have beat much of the
you
after leaving him around
you
though.
did in the UN? What stands out?
He
You think
fucked
is
up on
Bush
this.
in this UN?
He had him.
What jumps out at you as some great accomplishment?
Mr. Vice President, I guess this comes under 2 categories. The category of God save us from our friends and the no footprints category. Let me read you another couple of quick quotes. Gene Kirkpatrick. Strange as it may sound, after 4.5 years of serving on the Reagan administration's senior foreign policy team and being in meetings with the Vice President, I don't feel I know what he feels about most issues in the world, and I don't feel I know where he stands.
Was taken to the case of the American people in the primaries. You just showed me some clips, and I won overwhelmingly. And you look at poll after poll, and it doesn't show that these matters that you are very interested in dwelling on, and I can understand the fascination. But that is not what's going to determine the election. What is, are matters like jobs and opportunity and world peace, and have things gotten better, and will they get better if I'm elected? So you see, I would challenge your premise. I think that people have looked at this matter. It's been exhaustively looked into. Now, yes, there's still some fascination, but as I travel across the country, not near as much fascination with the working man and woman of this country as there is in this show would ever.
I'll tell you what, if you stop calling me Dan, try calling me Peter or
Can I do
Tom
it
or...
again?
No, that's all right. You can call me anything you like, but, you know...
It's Freudian. Hey, listen,
it's getting a little bit repetition.
I am not trying to be clever.
I
I
know.
promise you it is Freudian.
Okay.
And it's...
The only point I was going to make on this, and let me just have you respond to it, is up until now you've been dealing with Republican audiences in Republican primaries. And
Wallets, as you point out, the wallets are fat. Living is good. We've been put to sleep.
There's an item on earlier today that said, I think it was on CNN, there are 33% more billionaires
In this
this
case,
year than there were last year.
Yeah.
A rise of 33%. Have you heard, did you see that?
Mhm.
God,
the Fortune or Forbes list came out. Yeah.
Mother of God. 33% rise in billionaires. I've never even seen billionaires counted before, have you? You've heard the word, but there's no category. You want coffee, tea, anything hot?
I go for some coffee.
Yeah, I blew up my pot here, so I had to do this. My pot cracked.
Comprehensive solution to stop the flow of drugs in this country, cut the supply and cut the demand. An intelligent, comprehensive, regional, long-term approach.
You talk about the so-called war, and yet there's no program that deals with prevention that we have in the United States. There's no educational program from the Secretary of Education. There's no rehabilitation program.
And we're back with the Vice President, and with what I'm sure you will agree is in fact a compelling issue. You were, and you cited it as one of the proudest accomplishments of your time in office as Vice President. You were head, as I mentioned before, of the South Florida Anti-Drug Force. You set that up in 1982. Since that time, there's more cocaine coming into the United States than there was in 1982, and while you have succeeded in stopping much of the influx of marijuana, marijuana is now one of the 2 or 3, if not the top cash crop that is grown here in the United States. That's progress?
There's some progress. But am I satisfied with the progress? Absolutely not.
Where is the
Have we
progress?
done a good job at, well, how about 70 tons of cocaine having been interdicted? How about changing the laws so the military forces can be used to interdict? How about the fact that when we came into office, 3 countries were participating in permitting spraying, and now it's 23. But we have got to solve this problem by stepping up, not just interdiction, and I'd like to tell you what I propose on that.
Here we go, the
But
users, right?
by doing more on the user side, on the workforce side, on penalizing drug kingpins. I have a major difference with Michael Dukakis on that. I really think that if this is a war, let's treat it as a war. Let's put the death penalty on, and I salute for drug kingpins. Salute Al D'Amato, for example, and the Senate, which I hope today passed that bill. I'm not sure it did. I've been
In fact, he has no difference with the
Let me just
Congress.
bring you back, let me
we
just bring you
made
back if
progress
I
on
may.
that
He's gonna make
task
one, but he
force. We set it up, and if you talk to the Miami Citizens Against Crime, I think they will tell you that at that time we almost saved the very soul of Miami.
Let me just bring you back to the
please.
statistic that I was saying before about marijuana being one of the, if not the top cash crop in this country. And also a quote from, I think it was the former head of the DEA who once told me, you know, if you build a 10-foot fence around the United States, the drug smugglers are going to find them 11 feet high. For every 70 tons of cocaine that you seize, you know there's another 170 tons going in another place. So somehow that is not working. And I'm interested in what you were focusing on a moment ago, and that is how do you deal with the users? What is it that President Bush would do?
Education. I've seen more marvelously cooperative education programs, and I say cooperative, I'm talking about public-private partnerships. I do more. Churches involved.
You can
And
make
it
as many
has to be
film strips as you want.
exhortation
You can send
that
people
we
up
are
in
involved in a
speakers as
war.
much as you
It
want.
cannot be, as I think my
Let's
dear
do a
friend
goddamn
Charlie
thing like
Rangel
being on 14th
implied,
Street, the
one
crack market,
centralized,
I do more.
highly regulated program from Washington, D.C.
The man
It's
said
gotta
that
be
he's very used to drugs.
Ted, for you to talk
More
to some of your
effective
friends
than
in the media and say never make a movie or a television show that kind of almost condones the cocaine lifestyle. Everybody's got to be in this war together. It's going to mean tougher penalties. It's going to mean, certainly it's not going to mean letting people out of jail who are major offenders, and therein I have a major difference with Michael Dukakis. But you know, I'm glad you said what you did about his addiction.
He's looking at
You know the biggest problem faced in Attica prison? It's narcotics. Getting into that prison. And that shows you how difficult it is to stop narcotics at our borders. But we can't give up. We've
Mr.
got
Vice
to try.
President, I've got to interrupt you at this point. We've got to take another
Let's get
break.
rolling.
Yeah, I know. When we come back, a number of other issues I want to touch on with you quickly. I want to talk to you about women's support for you. You seem to be kind of low among women's support. I want to talk to you about political economics. I want to talk to you about Edmonds. All of that. when we come back.
Like I'm for guns. Yeah, this is a very, I don't like this. But I've been forced to it. Then, I brought it up with, I know a lot of people, I'm very much aware of the business. And I'm very much aware and I believe in karma. And, for that reason I've, forever, always, and with a great, intensity, stayed away from any part of the business. And I will not have anything to do with it. Never made a penny on it. Yeah, I'm I use her, it's an investment to me. I don't know how you get by it. Same way with guns, we go out here and shoot, all these guns, and there's no harm in that. Now, I would not have these same guns put into 14th and U in Washington, or into Watts. I would not. That's a very hard one, very difficult. And it gets to a bit of them, I'm afraid. There's no other way that you can look at it. But I think it's a fact that some people can handle guns, and I'm not saying they should. What kind of argument can we make against our use of guns today? I don't know. I never heard of one. And there's a certificate up here.
NRA?
Yeah, there's registered riding gun club. Nobody's even been, I've never had any accidents or even threats out here. No complaints. But, however, you take the same, shotgun shells, Magnum, double, put them somewhere else. Yeah, I'm afraid, I hate to say it, but we'd have trouble, I think. Don't you?
So how do you legislate? You can't say so.
That is a bitch of a problem.
You look qualified to handle it, I'll let you do it. You don't look qualified, you can't do it.
Well, I think it may come down to, I'm reaching a bit here,
The lowest common denominator.
well, I think when you have a situation where a whole generation loses faith in politics,
There's no inclination to call for Ed Meese to step down as party
and
conference.
any sense of participation in the country,
Your aides are telling our reporters
They're more likely
and
to shoot
reporters
people
on the
than he is to
campaign,
crack
Meese has got to go.
than they are.
They're doing that without your knowledge?
like I said, I'm a
Look, there's a lot
serious
of talk like that.
teenage criminal.
My view is this. This matter is being
I
investigated.
got into politics
That
mainly
report
from
is
back
about
in the
the
day. I really got
president.
into them in
That's what the
Chicago
man is
and
entitled to have that report, have the
Yeah, that's where-
process.
back in the day, right here, I was pushed around.
decision.
Couldn't
It's
couldn't
I
very
would have done it.
reasonable.
I went to the
couldn't
ballot.
agree with you more, but what I was asking you, Mr. Vice
It was
President,
possible
was,
then.
are your aides,
It was possible
your
to go.
knowledge, telling our reporters...
You had to blow things
how
up.
Not with my knowledge. I know of no aide that is told that you're a reporter this, but my aides feel that way. Yes, a lot of them do, and some of them were there, and thank God at least they had their name on it, and they weren't unnamed aides. Ones I get mad
Well,
at are
no.
the unnamed aides.
There are some unnamed ones, but you're saying they're not doing it with your approval or authority.
No, I'm not saying go out and do this, but I'm not muzzling people from saying what they think either.
Okay, let's talk about women. The polls are indicating that your support among women is weak. What are you going to do to change
Yes.
that?
Get the record out there, get out how I feel on various items. We're just beginning on these issues, but certainly one that concerns women is war and peace. Education is going to be a key, and I've said, and I'll say it again, I want to be the education president, and I think when all that is fleshed out, we're trying to get a reasonable child care program, different than what's in effect now, that will put the emphasis where we've got to have it, and that is as much as possible on the family.
We're almost down. I do apologize
These things
for
will help.
interrupting you, but
These things will help.
we're down almost to our last minute. In 1980, you were for ERA. You still for ERA?
No.
In
Not
1980, you were for federally funded abortion clinics. You still
I
for?
don't think I was for federally funded abortion clinics, but I oppose it. I am a pro-life person, and I do not favor that at all.
In 1980, when the Reagan candidate, the candidacy was talking about more defense, not increasing taxes, you call that voodoo economics. How, just very quickly explain to me how the conversion of George Bush on that issue came about.
The conversion came in September of '80 when the president didn't talk just about taxes. He talked about regulatory relief and controlling spending. And then I was fully on board because, Ted, at that time, in the primaries, I too was for favoring tax cuts. But I didn't think tax cuts alone could do the job. And Vince Voodoo, and the one memorable expression I've made in my public life lives on, and I wish I'd never thought of it.
Mr. Vice President, I thank you very much. It was gracious of you to come, and it was nice to have you with us.
Ted, I apologize for calling you Dan. I wasn't being smart. I can't see you. I'm in Houston, Texas, and I was not trying to be provocative or amusing.
Not at all, and I didn't take it that way. Next time, call me Barbara. But thanks very much for being with us tonight. That's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
Well, I've said repeatedly, I beat the hell out of journalists. I've written some of the worst stuff about journalists anybody's ever written. And in some way, I guess I feel I had that right. In the same way, if I think of his family. And, yeah, I figure I have the right to say, what the fuck are we doing here? We're, like I said, in 72 when Watergate was going on, I was out in the campaign like everybody else in 72. I had to be I was in the goddamn Watergate hotel that night. And it haunts me ever since, but I know that couldn't have. I was there, swing my laps at the Watergate Health Club.
The very night it happened.
The very night. Yeah, it's it's one of those things that I know I couldn't have done anything. I keep around looking for tape on every doorway in every hotel I'm in. But it made me very conscious of It's symbolic in a way. You know, I was back from the campaign trail. I was down at the health club, swimming my laps. I couldn't have been aware of that sort of thing. If I found the tape in the door, what the fuck would I have?
So you have known what to do with it.
No. But it drove me to it wasn't that. It was I wrote it in the campaign journal. Nobody was on that thing. And I'd been in St. Louis that night. Yeah, I think we were more concerned. All of us were more concerned with Eagleton and that affair. And we were. I don't know what the fuck was going on. Now, this has a look of the obvious will sometimes creep up on you. Did Terry take that motherfucking tape out of there?
The one below?
Yeah.
I think so.
God damn, I've been trying to play it. So alternative tape. So the machinery activates. It looks the same. It plays all the buttons. I just got this monster unit. In the obvious. Yeah, in the Watergate thing, you know. The obvious. I've been trying to do this now for a while. Yeah. I got this thing only because Sony doesn't make these big ones. It's amazing that Sony is so far ahead.
That's a Mitsubishi, yeah.
Yeah, I had this one, it was huge. I wanted a big one. I wanted for the basketball playoffs. Yeah, my friend Oliver got one, and Jesus. You know, heads on this thing are kind of disturbing, talking heads. But a basketball game, in the NBA playoffs, is a world of difference. This hideous thing, I don't know where we are.
What is this we're watching?
Just that NBC thing. I'm going to cut that in, I'm talking about it on the phone. No, I didn't see that. Yeah, I'm running about 3. I can't make this motherfucker.
Fast forward?
Yeah, maybe it is.
There you go.
No, I think it's just a track.
Can you do it on the down there?
For the exact same product, I'm pretty sure which one you would choose. Everybody loves a bargain.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so anything gives you a. It's kind of consumer oriented. This is a. I don't know what the fuck this is. Yeah, that is it a video camera and this, that, beta, VHS. Normally I have 2 VHS for dubbing. You need to plug speakers in there, but this thing has speakers built into there. You don't need anything else. The Sony, oh god damn it.
Here we go.
Stop, man. Let's see, you can't stop the fucking thing. Yeah, the Sony would be no problem with this. And there's a new battery, so that was a problem before. No, I don't know where this is. See, I'm trying to do the fast forward here. CNN, what the fuck are we doing? Yeah, just an uncertain touch. And by the same token, you can reverse a whole tape for an hour. You never know it.
I know you've done
So, yeah, we went back. The bitch was stopping. We're in front.
it. Right after.
After this. Yeah, that's very different. There's 2 writers, me and Malcolm. That's one of these sex films. You fast forward or fast reverse with a sound on it. It's fucking madness. It really is bizarre.
Panning in triple time.
Try to stop the motherfucker.
You can't. Can I do it manually down there?
Yeah, you can. We got it now. It's just real slow. You got no anything. Slice capacity.
And that's before the fours.
Oh no, is it? Yeah, we have to go back to the fours again?
Yeah.
No? Fuck. Alright, so somewhere around here we have to stop and just listen to Malcolm for a minute or so. I don't know what the hell it was. Listen to it before it did hurt me. See, I can't stop it. I'm trying to make it play.
There we go.
It's really sloppy mechanic.
Have a certain freedom of inspection, but in your life.
I don't understand this stuff. I've been
In
doing
the
it for a long time.
category of I told you so.
I also understand
Will
having kids.
Robinson's would fit there. Didn't he predict how he would die?
Well, in a sense.
In a sense.
But, you know, that was such a stunning thing. He was with Wiley Post, one of the great adventurous aviators who had achieved things and gone around the world. He wasn't around the world trip with them. And they took off from Nome in Alaska, and the plane crashed, and they were both killed. And Will Rogers was so full of wisdom that to this day the country loves.
Was it ever your hope that other journalists, did you hope that others would go toward that goal?
Well, I miss it. Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't trying to start a school or a cult or a drift. I didn't do it by accident. You know, it was. I just found I could do it. And it worked, and the journalism I grew up with was pretty stodgy. And it resulted in, Eisenhower and 3 years, and then just barely beat Nixon, and whoops.
Tonight has never finally gone too far.
What you did was unethical and probably illegal.
Yeah, I used journalism all along as a political tool. And yeah, I would have. I'm not surprised that there are not more gonzo journalists. But I am surprised there are not more investigative journalists in the. This is what really worries me. I know I can change one more vote than mine. The way I write, the way I decide about the document. You know, me and Andy Young were blamed for electing Carter. And there was something to it, you know. Andy was a black vote, and he was a Rolling Stone vote. And the difference was, I think 500,000 votes. Last time the difference was 17 million votes in one of the Reagan. In a close election, boy, 500,000 votes is a motherfucker. Nixon and Kennedy was 100,000 votes. And they had to,
Some of those bought it after the last.
Illinois and Texas. And it went first Texas and Illinois. That's why Mayor Daley went to his grave, the nice guy. Yeah, he delivered Cook County at the end. Yeah, 100,000 votes, imagine that? He's talking about this one, what can one man do? Where's one vote count?
100,000 votes is nothing.
Yeah, that was the difference between Nixon and Kennedy. It was a whole generation of politics. This guy's not bad, but he's not going to get any votes.
There's a potential running mate for McCrockett, but even Babbitt probably can't help McCrockett here.
This is a head taller. That's a dangerous thing.
Arizona, but this state consistently goes Republican in the general election. Tom McHugh, CNN, Phoenix.
Headline news continues.
Oh, he went down there to Phoenix to see Babbitt?
He must have.
Yeah. Well, he keeps himself in the headlines, which is good. Yeah?
Some people would say Gore, but Gore has too much of the future.
He's a
only
dingbat.
8 years playing second fiddle.
Well, none has nothing to win by doing that.
Yeah, because none loses everything in the Senate.
Yeah. He's a powerful entity right now.
But
That's not a bad trade. Trading vice president for armed services committee chairman, is it? I mean,
Well, you're trading a chance at it. None reads the numbers just like we do. Well, it really depends on whether he's up this year or not. If he can run without losing anything. The only person who's ever done that and got away with it was Goldwater. In 1964, he ran for both, lost the presidency, and got reelected as senator.
You ran for Senate same time?
at the same time?
Yeah.
Is that
See, somehow got away with it. I don't know how. But it was deplored. I think they were sorry for him. But you can't do that now. And there are several people like that. If you're not up, you can run and come back around. But if you're up for the Senate or the House, well, you're always up for the House.
what about this Hamilton guy?
He's a good guy. Yeah, I'd probably pick him, except he's 8 feet taller than the president.
And Indiana is lost anyway to the Republicans.
I'd him and the judge from Maine, Mitchell, and the guy on Hamilton's committee. Or no, Hamilton he's a representative, right? He's a senator.
He's a representative.
Mitchell must be a senator, a judge from New England. I'm not sure which state it is.
Bob Graham?
Yeah, but he has a future in the party. He's not going to do it. Well, I couldn't say right now who I'd I would pick. No, I said I'd pick Jesse just because I'm nuts. And I'm not sure who I'd tell the caucus to pick. I didn't tell him who not to pick. And we start with Glenn, Benson, Gore. Gephardt might do something. He's not bringing votes. Gephardt's like the caucus. He's just a hack, a bureaucrat. The gap between Jesse and the others is huge. Yeah, this really was the year that the Democrats should have run Teddy Kennedy. He got rid of that Chevrolet thing forever. Which is so fucking beatable. We're not talking about a champion.
Can you imagine what the conventional columnists would be writing if we had to make a choice between his sins and George Bush's sins? I mean, that's the best this country can do.
I really think about that. I wrote when it said the time has come, and it's
I don't think this time will ever come again.
Well, he's the most effective Democratic senator out there. He has the best staff in the Senate.
Do you think he even wants that anymore?
He would like to. He'd like the presidency, but I don't think he.
He doesn't want what comes with it.
Yeah.
Either.
The hideous beating. Well, fuck. That's another thing where I would. I should run, really. I'm not the only person there. The only person around who.
There is one thing Canada can do for it.
Just pointed out, everything you can accuse of, I mean, you're 20 minutes and paid for.
But until that happens, smog will continue to hover over much of the Midwest and mid-Atlantic coast.
Kennedy's almost that situation.
20 record high temperatures will
So how long? A bad driver?
heavily industrialized southeastern Michigan.
Well, he didn't sell bombs to the Iranians and killed 269 Marines and the barracks in the room. So he hasn't been presided over a hideously corrupt administration, as Pryor said. How can we talk to these people, these boys out in the DMZ lines, tell them you can't give them boots? Not enough new ammunition, new guns, because we like money when these people are skimming it and stealing it. All Kennedy is guilty of is really being a bad driver one day. That's a broad statement. But, you take Chappaquiddick away from Teddy, he'd be a formidable candidate.
No, take that away, you would have been president
Yeah.
8 years ago.
Well, how long did we hold that against him? Bad driving. And he didn't know that girl was in the back seat. He had to go back to the house to find out who was. He was horrified. He had another girl in the front seat.
Horrified. Hell, it took him how long to finally get around to telling the cops?
Well, he didn't know that she was there. See, that's what they never told. I shouldn't say this. He thought he'd survived. Everything was okay. Went back to the house and they said, well, where's Mary Jo? Can't quite find her. Oh, help. Ye fucking God. And they found her purse in the car. She dug down there. No, her purse was in the house. Yeah, okay.
No, I would have kept looking until I was sure. Of course, then you're
He
probably
was
in shock.
long dead with a...
You're in shock, you're half drunk probably.
No, he didn't know. He thought that what's her name, Keo, was it Mary? That's the girl he was with, in the front seat. He didn't know she was in the back seat, passed out. The car went off, he and, what was it, Mary, Keo, I don't know, Joanne, whatever, Keo. That's what he was thinking back to the hotel room. He got out. Went back to the hotel, I mean, the house, and said that he got you in the car over, let's get it out of there. People said, oh God, you know, how you fucking crazy, just get it out. And it was a long time before they came, somebody said, oh, by the way, where's Mary Jo? And she had passed out, or Jonathan had passed out. And, boy, if you make him with that house in the lake, would that count? Try that. Yeah, imagine that, boy, landslide. Man, nobody could ever say that. I had no idea that you'd, it's another night, you know, in America. Well, yeah, you know, I've lost. What, 19 check. Also, those 3 little. And I had no. Yeah, that's like Teddy at Chappaquiddick. I had no real grasp grip of my immediate realities. Because of this heinous mess. I can do anything at all. It's a freaking miracle. Yes, that's it. That's the record shows that Megamit's has betrayed me. Exhibits will come out, so there's no background thing. Frank and I have had, and Patrick not. You talked to Buchanan? I mean, excuse me, to Goodell? That's right, Patrick Goodell. When I said Patrick.
No, I did. I haven't.
Well, when I said Patrick, I've always that difference is always there. And Buchanan's an honorable monster. You know, he's like when I go to Washington, I count on not getting any real information from Patrick, but I'm drinking a beer with him and having a good time. And what I count on from Mankiewicz is he's getting a since he's been divorced, getting not going to his house. I used to go to his house. You know, he's a good guy, and I like him, and I used to go to his house all the time, even long after the campaign. But then he did get divorced. But in terms of information now, from Mankiewicz, since he's gone to the Gray and Bill Milton, yeah, I figure I can have more fun with Buchanan that I had with Frank. I have lunch with Frank and drink. He doesn't drink much. I drink beer with Patrick, and Patrick is believes I should be probably rounded up, you know, or in the best of all possible worlds, I should be taken away. And I don't know what Mankiewicz ever believed. I think I have a better. I bet I have an easier job getting a job. You know, easier chance of getting a job with in some special unit of some sort with Buchanan than I would with Mankiewicz. Yeah. Yeah.
That's too hard to even think about that kind of pairing.
It's very strange. Very strange. Well, I had that with a few people in the Nixon White House. No, you know, Mankiewicz was maybe my best and most intelligent source, far more than Gary Hart in that campaign. But I had to steal his fucking Rolodex. I had to get his secretary to give me. By the time Mankiewicz realized how much access I had to him, it was all over. And Buchanan just sort of recognized a fellow thug and brawler. He was kicked out of what was it, Georgetown for fighting.
Was he?
I think it was Georgetown or it must have been Georgetown. That's a Catholic university. Yeah. Patrick he'd been a vicious brawler all his life. Now, I wanted to go to talk to somebody in the Nixon White House. Well, really the finest guy I've ever talked to there was Jim Brady. If you want to talk about class acts. Before he got shot, I called over there, and I didn't know who the hell I was going to talk to in this White House. And somebody said that he mentioned that he knew me or liked to see me or something. I called over there very nervously. And I was up there on Capitol Hill on the Ramada Inn or whatever that is. And, you know, I didn't know him at all. I spoke to him as Mr. Brady, you know, S Thompson from whatever Rolling Stone, I guess. And he said, hey, man, come over here anytime. It'd be an honor to have you. When you want to meet me, we'll have fun. He was a good guy. He was the best in that whole crowd.
I think you do have that same relationship with Speaks.
No. He was a sleazy bastard. A Mississippi politician. Jim Brady was, if they had more people like him, they'd have done a lot better. He's lucky he got shot, really. He won't go down with those people. These people will go down. They will be, there's not a chance in hell this administration will be remembered as anything. Look at Paisley here. No, I didn't appoint Paisley. Gordon McGovern didn't. Jimmy Carter didn't. This is a me-style person. A cheap thief. You know, a punk and a thug. This administration will go down as maybe the crookedest in history. What, the national debt has tripled? The nation has flipped to the point of we'll call it a second-rate world power. You know, the Germans laugh at us, the English disdain us, the French have always thought we were fucking dingbats. The Japs are ruling over us at all times. The Chinese are letting us into the country with some trade. We have lost our edge under this administration. Richard Nixon was better than these people. He went to China. They gave him a beautiful house in China. Nixon has a great house on a lake. One of the prettiest lakes and prettiest houses I've ever seen in China. I gave it to him. I liked him. I like talking to Nixon. I can't say I like him, but I enjoy him. He's a player. These are just fucking cheap thugs.
Are there any politicians besides Jesse that you do respect? National figures?
No? Any players now? Oh boy. respect. See, I'm result oriented, as I said. So it comes out down to comparative. Now here's one who's going to get his ass whipped. Colorado North. Even the judge, even there's Mitchell right there to the left. I think it's James. Right to the right of that guy with the beard. Yeah, this was a display of corrupt. Well, speaking of corrupt, here we go.
Today's New York Times says independent counsel James McKay asked Meese in November 1987 if he understood that some of the project funds were to go directly to the Israeli Labor Party. The report says Meese indicated he did. But 2 months later, Meese said he didn't recall those details.
Boy, if he gets off, he'll be damn lucky. Jim Baker is somebody I'd hire. If we put it on that basis, who I would hire? Jim Baker is what I would hire. If I were running for president, that's a good way to put it. I made lists like that before. And I've cross-referenced them with recommendations from other people. It's amazing what comes out. I would hire Buchanan. Well, what do you want? You want effective people, right? Sure. And if Buchanan agreed to work for me, I would trust him. I wouldn't expect him to agree, but if he did, yeah, he's a hitman. He's a hard boy. So is Baker, in a quieter way. This may be the problem we have, because off the staffs of the major Democratic candidates are damn few at hire. On the evidence, look at Paul Tully. Right, here's a ranking. Democratic Paul, pro. First went with Gary, and then switched to Douglas, and got blamed for that tape of the Biden tape. And here Biden goes, wonder who the hell turned him in. It's been a disgusting display of wretchedness. Yeah, Jesse. Jesse really has to rank. We're talking about levels. Jesse would have to be in the top level. He is a black man, a radical black preacher who has every conceivable kind of question in his background, who has taken the American political system and made it work for him. And without doing any kind of things that Adam Clayton Powell ever did, or black judge from Florida. Yeah. And Jesse has got where he is without having to make any deals, and he may be getting into it now, but I respect the way he's used the system and made it work. I respect the system. And, oh, it's hard though, isn't it? It's very scary, and I can't think of more names. I mean, I'm trying to think of who I would hire rather than who I vote for. I like Paul Simon. He's an honest man, honest senator, good senator. Ted Kennedy's maybe the best and most effective senator in Washington. An effective politician and a good one, but I vote for effectiveness. The Kennedys have always had the best staffs, period, on the Hill, and they've had the reputation for it, so it's, you're going to go to Washington and get work on the Hill. We're the best and the brightest, allegedly go. Who you get on Kennedy's staff is, like Harvard Law, you know that. I like to go to the Harvard Law School because they're bright. They're vicious. I like to go and speak there. Once a year I like to go to Harvard Law and just find out if I'm still as sharp as I was. Yeah, you get 3,000 fucking students at Harvard Law coming after you. Any question they want. That's a fast track. And that's how Kennedy's staffs are. There are a lot of good people in politics. It's amazing. And there are a lot of good people not in politics, but who can get in politics and are good. If the political system could use the talent that's out there kind of humming and sitting around, all the people that are dissatisfied with their lives and don't think that things are quite right for them and need something to do and something meaningful. That's what we did here, man. Freak power. Christ, people came out of the woodwork. We had more talent here than we could use. I was astounded by it. The hardest problem I had here, the biggest problem, was using the talent that came and volunteered and wanted to work. And putting it to work. So, we won all 3 city precincts. And it scared me so much that I probably, if I'd taken it more seriously, we would have won the election. Then I've been sheriff and I've been arrested.
Then what would you have done?
They had to come after me. Well, we did the right thing. My undersheriff, Keenest, was elected 2 years later when the current sheriff. The current sheriff was arrested for corruption, and I said he was guilty of it. And we had the sheriff's office ever since. Which we did there. Yep, we had the best thing. The current sheriff was a model of
mechanical and technical modifications in preparation
for
next flight scheduled for March.
wise and
reports some NASA officials are skeptical about
efficient law enforcement in this time. Here we are in what they call it the capital, the cocaine capital of the world. What? How would you like the sheriff of a place like this? Yeah, that's a hell of a job. We're not talking about any rural ho-ho cowboys anymore. The cocaine capital of the world, underline. Well, that's not true, but the fact it's been said makes the sheriff's job harder. The FBI comes over here and they want to put in a report. It's a lot of balls to say, no, we don't want informant here, it's not our way of life.
Take a lot of balls from that informant around here, too.
Well, there are a lot of them around. No, it's been a long time since an informant's been hit. It's better than a disgrace, but there's no,
but there is so much work to be done.
Real, drug mafia. Oh, that's Miami could blow crowd.
Yeah, you did a good job.
There's so many years in it. Well, the evidence. But yeah, that election allowed us to have a hand in government to the sheriff's office ever since. They've been good people. Nobody can argue. Excellent. The under-sheriff, my grandmother, wanted it. I didn't want to be sheriff, I just wanted to appoint the sheriff. I didn't want the salary, I just wanted to have. And I said that, the under-sheriff, but I got off of the local police force. I brought in consultants, law enforcement, so that we have a good commitment, which we did. All that happened was I got beaten and the Keenest came in, did the same thing. Brought us with Keenest under-sheriff. He's doing the same thing. We did a good job. This place is law enforcement here is you can compare it to anything. Yeah, we can compare law enforcement here with anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Given the load that put on a place by having a hideous and rich fucking jet set craziness and the cocaine capital of the world. Just those things.
Spotlight this on.
Yeah. I mean, to be sure, I think that's a hell of a thing. Then he got me. Well, you know, he haven't got me yet.
May act with fewer harmful side effects than AZT, another promising AIDS drug.
Give me the closing shot.
More concerned about some people who call the streets of the Big Apple home. As Charles Feldman reports, young runaways are fast becoming a high-risk group for contracting AIDS.
No, no, no. That's all we need out there.
When the clerk was dark, she said a lonely plan from
Why went real fast with these fucking plastic things?
in search of runaway
They didn't go.
youngsters.
No shot at all.
But now there's a new sense of urgency.
Paper will give you
The
a minute,
company
an instant.
youths either
This
end up
plastic
using
just slides.
drugs or supporting themselves through prostitution. They are fast becoming
You just touch it and it'll go.
for contracting the AIDS virus.
Every day that a youngster's out on the street is a day that they might pick up the virus if they haven't already got it, or might become reinfected and more likely to get AIDS. So it's a race against time, but we're not allowed to run. We're not allowed to move.
Yeah, AIDS here. Do we?
We'll scare them off.
The AIDS come in?
Yeah, we had,
Tell CNN that
David
AIDS is
Wright
now a
died.
disastrous menace.
That's one death and
one death in this town, 2 days.
Since then, it's become a large problem and a growing problem.
It's all around me in D.C.
That big?
Children tested by
Really
the
is.
clinic are infected with the AIDS virus.
What's that crack? Nobody's ever brought me any crack.
The New York State
And I wonder if,
showing a 30 to 50 times higher.
yeah, for a while I thought AIDS was the Petri Buchanan's,
Experts say it is
So I figured it out. It's not.
most runaways.
That's probably too many people thought that way for too long.
Residents of Covenant House agree.
Someone don't take it serious enough. Someone take
But,
it serious.
no, I would, I just admit, I wrote about that, but yeah, for a while I called it Mr. Buchanan's disease. I can call it Mr. Lincoln's War. But I know that was wrong, but it's not here. There's no crack. Nobody, I
Covenant House plans to
had no fear of AIDS,
for AIDS infected
and nobody ever offered me any crack.
because there was simply no other place for them to go.
In a way, this is
CNN.
Peter Pan country, that's it.
Around sports was next.
We're supposed to be the worst and craziest of all. I'm not going to brag about this place at all, but it's just worth noting. You think that drugs and sex, we get the worst of it, right? I would kill most of the people here, just because they're useless. I don't know what we're going to get here. Let's hope we get the front. Yeah, front. Seen this?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. That's probably the end of the...
Well, yeah, when you and Terry had your business.
Watch what you saw this, yeah.
It's really good.
Oh, God, it's still on. I'm trying to turn it off. Well, do you want to see this at all? I don't
It can be fun.
You can leave it on if you want to turn down the sound.
Yeah.
Have you ever regretted anything that you've written? About anybody or any situation?
Yeah, most of it. No, I regret not writing better.
I'm not here.
Harry, the time has come. I get that, and just try to get the name. Repeat the name of whoever it is, and watch me. Nobody's here.
Hello? Who's speaking, please? Neil? Neil Kalasi? Okay, hold on 1 second, Neil.
You bastard, what are you calling me here for? No. I'm sitting here, I'm working on my interview here. Oh. Hey, don't apologize. I accepted the call. I could have, Okay, well, hey, don't apologize. I'm going to answer. Okay, see you. Charlie.
You looking for me?
Yeah. Joe called him for the review. Didn't want to call her. I know it pretty well, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a good idea anyway.
Okay, well, fuck that. We have to figure out, when you seen the door, is that within your purview, as they say?
Yeah.
Knocking out windows and walls and putting in that?
Yeah, actually, they only stop up sometimes this weekend.
Sometimes this weekend, but I got windows that are, when it rains, the shit pours into my bedroom, and my brother's been a little bit unhinged as he crushed all over his truck.
I can understand that, actually.
Well, fuck, he took it back up there and parked in his driveway. And I said, well, shit, never mind that, take it in, get it fixed. You know, Oliver's not gonna, turn around and say, you must get it fixed, you bastard.
Oliver was real nice about it.
Yeah, I was. So they should be too. That's white trash behavior. Crush a man's truck, borrow it, crush it, and then put it back in his driveway. Fuck. Well, the dog will pay back forever if he lets it go. She told him just to take it in, fix it, and behave the same way Oliver did, you know. You don't want to respond to an elemental, decent piece of behavior like Oliver did. He should have killed him. I'd have liked to have shot him. He has to live next door to him, and he takes the truck back and crush it and put it in the driveway. What do you think I would do if you did that to me? Borrowed the Jeep and crushed it and brought it back and put it in the driveway.
I would take it to anywhere I could that might feel safe.
How would have you pursued? Yeah, I mean, I would have had Oliver's worse than that. Well, maybe not, but you don't want to chance it, I don't think.
No.
He's bigger than I am, he's crazier than I am.
Yeah.
And he had his truck crushed by his next door neighbor. Who told us? That violates every law of civilized behavior that we know in this law. Did you take it back and it? Did you dare take it back and put it in Harvard? You got it down for 5 days? I'm prepared for it. Just, on grounds of intolerable wretchedness. I'm surprised that he must be failing. I'm surprised he even put the damn windows and doors and he put it on you.
Yeah.
But did he, or is that
No, yes.
I'll force him to do it. I'll go through and I went up there today and put a flare on their wood pile. And left. I went back and got it. But I would do it just not for Oliver, but for the sake of human decency. Somebody don't do that. Like, I'm offended that he didn't continue with his, the windows and the doors. Yeah, that's and what causes that kind of failure? Is that drugs? Is that drink? Must be a character flaw. Well, let's call it. Yeah, I'll give him well, you just said that Joe was looking for you.
Yeah,
and did want to call here, which I appreciate. That's a delicacy that, I have a set of friends on a huge spectrum of age and life. I jumped all kinds of fucking debts. If I knew what it was, I might try to, continue it. I don't know. It's curious, but it's not like I want to isolate it in manufacturing. And there are all kinds of trouble with it. But it's odd, whatever that is. Maybe that's a possibility that I still believe in the great skyhook. 6-year-old firm. Yeah. Yeah, I insist that this fucking business be fun. I insist that all of it has to be, good. Not good and worth, I'm an investor. Yeah. Free enterprise. I want a fucking return on my energy. And I believe it's there, somehow. But god damn it, I don't know if one's Atlanta or New Orleans. And what did I say down there? I don't know. That's right. And I don't quite get what you mean by whatever. I understand what you say about it is important, but I don't grasp that. We'll get to it. Well, it is. So maybe we might come around the corner and get to it. Like, why should I put your on the road? You don't think you came out here in 1922, so.
Because we need correspondences are going to be presented and packaged as basically fait accompli, rubber stamp, television orgies for each party's own self gratification.
Are you not going though, right?
No, my wife is, so I won't be going.
Well, but should I go? Why should I go?
Because we need somebody down there pricking those bubbles.
But you just said it. You know, what am I going to write that you don't already know? What if I got drunk and got arrested? You know, or got fucked up and got busted for drugs? That would be a bad thing, right? For the myth.
You could have said the same thing in 72, though. I mean...
But I had something to do in 72. I had a job to do. Oh, fuck. If I had a job to do, I could go down there if I had heroin bubbles hanging off my body. Oh, no, there's no risk I won't take if I have to. But, the rub. I have a book out. I've been portrayed on NBC with 4.9 million viewers, and I'm really a fee. And God knows what you're going to write. But it can't be reassuring. And the truth cannot be reassuring, I don't think. So we got to go then to there's a thing in People magazine hovering around somewhere, which could be really, really bizarre and damaging. Yeah, the truth to me, it raises certain questions of risk. It's not like I'm being accused of being I don't know, a person who shoots out of cars at NBC TV cameras. That's not done very often. Here I am, sitting in front of you doing drugs and we're drinking and shooting. The truth is not reassuring. It may be fun. Yes, it is in some dark way. I don't know. I'm still very much getting to it. But I wonder why. It'd be better for me to go down there wherever I could say, if I could just hit that horse against the risk of being, what happened to Julian Bond? Look what happened to Andy Young, the mayor. Here I am with a book out. And people, it said, it talked about it glorifying drugs or everything that the Reagan family.
Couldn't you work without it for 4 or 5 days?
I didn't avoid, of course. I've had nothing at all. Whatever I have, I gotta be busted for like drunk driving or disorderly conduct, anything disgraceful. No, I thought the drug thing. I didn't do that any of it. But having gone down there with my reputation, if I were on the other side, I would bust me. Ain't that it's boring, What else is there? Yeah, what do we do today? Well, I have this fucking maniac over here, and he was seen with the whole fucking, Carter family. I know too many people. Whoever I'm seen with, who we haven't noticed. At the last convention, I was going crazy. Because people want the story. And then there was a conflict there. This time, shit, I'm not.
So you're seeing the bad side of participatory journalism.
I'm asking you, yeah. Well, I've been on the street for a long time. Because I don't, think somehow. Yeah. That's a long time to be wandering around. As a known, most famous. This started when I was a kid, JD. I told the guy from NBC, I just want to be remembered as a nice guy and an athlete. But boy, hard. I don't know, have you read that book? The Swine book?
Oh, yeah.
Well, how do quickly now? Don't think too much. Just quickly, how do I come off? Am I portrayed in that? Go to the cover to the cover. Just don't.
Rapidly anti Reagan administration. Anti the establishment press, with a cry for for their shortcomings.
Too complex. Am I portrayed as a criminal?
No, not nearly so much there as maybe some of your other works.
How about I'm not even sure. Is there a line of drugs or drink? I'll take them separately. A drunkard, a dope fiend, sex fiend, I don't know.
There's a lot of alcohol in it. You start out several
Yeah,
albums with saying, yeah, I'm sitting here at the Woody Creek Tavern with my huge flagon of whiskey, and go on from there.
I remember one where I was trying to go out and do a high-speed run through a residential district. Took a whole bunch of whiskey and drive through a residential district.
But it does seem a little toned down, although you do start at the tattoo parlor. And
is that bad, or what is that? Yeah, that's an impression.
Outrageous. It's good that that's the lead-off story, because it sets a nice tone for the book. Dangerous things are still weird out there.
Well, is that a sexist thing, or
no? Because nobody can take it seriously. They can say, "Oh my God,
it's true.
He still got it."
But
a lot of people will be posing that question to themselves and chuckling over it and saying, "No way, that crazy bastard did that. This is not one of his demented fables. This is what I love about him. This is why I've always read him. And he's still writing these things, and God, it's good to have that voice back." It's almost irrelevant whether it's true, I think, in that particular case.
I'm not sure if this is right or wrong, but I follow my life with that. I just want to show you. No, the cancer is not true. But, there were two tattoos. And there's one.
Mm-hmm.
And you can figure out what the other one is. Yeah, so I'm hopeless romantic.
So Maria wasn't sacrificed, but you were.
No, she was too, first. Okay. No, she has one. But not a panther. You shouldn't go right that. I'm so good room of well, you see that one believes anyway. You'd be more shocked that the tattoo to me is like, the clap. You don't want it. Somehow I ended up doing it. So everything's a panther. Everything else was just fucking. A lot of the stuff is, most of it, really, I'm too lazy to make that stuff up. That's why I've written novels on it there. But the night managers have me.
That can almost make a better movie than a book, maybe.
So I have some fun with that one. Oh, yeah, she does that.
That's one of the annoying things, frustrating things about the book, is that you keep making. Right.
That's that one. And then here's my real card.
You keep making references to this, but it's never really explained, never gotten into at all in the book. You may make a number of references to you being manager of the O'Farrell Theater, but I wanted to find out much more about that. Obviously, you're saving it. And what's the doctor stand for?
Well, the doctor of three things. I've always thought it was wiser, and it has been, not to discuss these things. But we have divinity, chemotherapy, and journalism. Journalism being the one I practice most of the time. It's not against my will. Like I think the contract is run out. I don't know. I think we're working, in the dark, and I don't want to raise it until it comes down to the convention. I hired on as a political columnist, so not doing the campaigns.
And you say after November, or even after the campaigns.
What would I worry about them? Jesus, I won't have to quit. Really? Well, I have other work to do. Yeah. I don't really believe in God. Well, in some way, but I believe in the Lords of Karma. The Lords of Karma on our toes. They will give me a lot of money for this book, which is weird. And force me to. I'll take any excuse not to work. And a novel really clear shot to work. To be You have to confront that kind of reality for that long. It's a terrifying task. In journalism, you got people to give you your stories and your outrages, and then in fact, it's one of the reasons I sort of drifted into journalism, and I realized I could not make up things that were traditional. If you can make up a character, it's insane and complex and filthy and mean as that.